Good evening, everybody. Hello, all. Good afternoon. Welcome to episode 263 of Pen and Pixels. I am your host, Arvin Elleron. This is the show that focuses on story and narrative in games, and it is my great pleasure to welcome everybody to the second session of Talisman Adventures with the GOG D&D stream crew. This is sponsored, as always, by Pegasus Spiele, which is the maker of Talisman Adventures, the role-playing adventure, so thank you to them. And thank you as well, of course, as always, to GOG.com for having us here and continue to play this awesome game and system with all of you. Before we get any further, just a couple of reminders here about ways to support us here on the channel. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to follow us here on GOG.com. Please make sure to subscribe to us here on GOG.com as well. You can get some of these awesome custom sub badges and emotes and things like that, which you can use across the Twitch community to show the love for DRM-free stuff here, there, and everywhere. And of course, if you haven't already done so, please consider clicking through and checking out our individual channels as well, because we always have subsystems and all that kind of stuff as well. So please consider jumping on board to help us out with that, because that would be much appreciated. Otherwise, I want to welcome everybody, as I said, to session 2. And as was mentioned just now by Trifid, the amazing video that you just saw is courtesy of Peripheral Mike, who is responsible for the content of that video, and the music, which is courtesy of Greenforge Studio. You will hear some other music from Greenforge Studio during our session today, and you should give them some support if you are looking for any music for any games that you may run, whether it is streamed or not streamed. I can recommend them highly. Gabe Lefkowitz is the purveyor, the proprietor, I guess, of Greenforge Studios, and does a great job. So you will get a chance to see more examples of how that all works, or how that all sounds, over the course of the next few sessions here and elsewhere. But again, thank you to Peripheral Mike for the video, and to all of the awesome players that you're about to see. Quick note on schedule. I am going to be here with you folks and the rest of the crew for the next few hours until we close up shop around 7 p.m. Eastern. Next week, I will be back to Mission Critical on this channel. I'll spend a couple of weeks on that, and then we will go back to D&D with GOG, which is Storm King's Thunder that we did last week, and then more of this game, Talisman Adventures. I do want to give everyone the heads up that I'm going to be moving next month, and so one of those days may be somewhat up in the air. It depends on how things go. I think I've tried to schedule it such that everything is not going to be affected in terms of my streams, but it's a big move. It's my family is moving entirely, and it's the first time we've moved in 10 years. So, there's stuff to be done. And so I hope everyone will be patient and understand that. But otherwise, that is what we are looking at as we transition over. And I say hi to all of you lovely people. I hope everyone is doing well, and I hope you are ready for what's going to be an awesome session today. I hope you're ready for me to bang into my mic for no reason. I'm wearing my, my wizard shirt. I feel like that should help do things. Also, I just got finished playing Frostpunk on my channel, and so this also, warms us up, right, with those sorts of things. But otherwise, it is time for us to get back into this amazing game of Talisman. So I am going to unmute myself as always, and apologize for interrupting whatever I may have interrupted just now. And then I'm going to unmute them.
Carpet Wars.
And last but certainly not least, I'm going to go over there to reveal walls.
And that's how the Carpet Wars were won.
Carpet
Have you?
Wars. Oh, okay. That's so much better than carpet balls. I didn't know what
And
that
it's
was, and I'm
also
like, I don't think I
relevant to
want to know.
Talisman.
Yes,
You
the
should
famous
definitely 100 for both things. You should definitely consult your doctor.
the
Yeah,
famous carpet wars of Talisman.
the Carpet Wars. Yes, that's Talisman Adventures is indeed a Carpet Wars thing. I don't even know what we're talking about. I should know. I should learn never to say anything about a green room. Just walk in and nod sagely and just move on to the introductions. That's what I should always do. Anyway, it's
There we
lovely.
go. There's the chat. They picked up on it.
It's lovely. I didn't agree to anyone winning. Oh yeah, because Mr. Zeno has played with you before, so I know the drill with that. It is good to see everybody. I hope folks are here enjoying, looking forward to enjoying what I think will be a great session today. I'm going to introduce these lovely people that I get to spend 2 weeks in a row with. I can't believe my good fortune. And that is going to begin, of course, with the GOG stream team leader, our beloved Pyron Jade. So I will start with Pyron. It's good to see you, Pyron. I hope you're managing to hang in there, all things considered. And I was curious about anything else you want to highlight about stuff that's going on in the world for you that you feel comfortable talking about, and also who you're playing today.
Oh, the world. The storks are back. We have like a huge meadow in the backyard. And
Yeah,
the
you have your
storks
own storks. I love the
Yes.
fact that that's pretty cool.
Yes, there's like I said, we have this huge meadow to the back of our house, and every year there's a pair of storks that come back, and they're like the neighborhood storks. And when the storks are back, the whole neighborhood talks about the storks being back. So, chat, now you know the storks are back.
The storks are back. I feel like that should be a battle cry when you go into battle that age. The storks are back. Something. That's awesome, though. I mentioned before, Pyron had mentioned this to me, that my father-in-law lives on a lake, and there are blue herons that come sometimes and will just perch at the end of his dock. And those are beautiful, beautiful birds, very graceful, especially in the morning. So it's like early morning, you look out and like there's just a little bit of light and they're silhouetted. It's really nice. Anyway, I'm glad the storks are back.
Yes.
In the Talisman world, who are you playing?
I'm playing Regina Augusta III, who is a sprite, which sadly was exiled from the sprite realm for being maybe a tiny bit unruly, maybe.
A little bit.
But she is, while being angry about this, that is still fine because she's angry about many things, especially about being sober sometimes. And as she's also heavily armed, things are usually going her way. So all of this is fine. So she's a sprite warrior with an attitude, and maybe another attitude on top of that.
I feel like this is like an advertisement, so that like sprite warrior with an attitude, Regina Augusta III. I'm excited to see how the sprite with an attitude proceeds during the game, but always a pleasure to have Pyron with us.
And if anybody's interested about what happened during the Carpet Wars, Saber and I are totally prepared to inform everybody about this because it's a very important topic.
Oh, please.
But tonight, no, it's a very long story. Tonight we're here for the RPG.
Oh, okay. So you just sort of let that hanging for chat. You'll have to know more, chat. What we're going to do is
It's a tale of much betrayal and spite.
That's right. We'll do this like radio shows do it, where we'll just have like, you'll just tell the first quarter of the story, and then like you and Saber on various streams will just go back and forth. So you have to be at all of them if you want to know the whole story. Anyway.
Okay, we were playing the Talisman board game, and I had a magic carpet, which is wonderful. I rarely get any good magic items, and I had the magic carpet, and the magic carpet is a great item, and I was very happy about my carpet.
Oh boy.
Yes. So that's all I'm going to say. That it was my carpet the whole time, just so that is very clear. My carpet.
I have a good guess where this happened. What happened here? Having played a bit of Talisman in my time.
It's a really good carpet, and I tied the room together, and my carpet. So, Saber, how are you tonight?
Dark Saber 2K. Thank you again, as always, for handling Dashboard and Mubon on these. I appreciate it, Saber. How are you doing? How's life in the universe with you? And who are you playing when not otherwise involved in a carpet war?
To be fair, I was actually one of the last parts of the Carpet War, so I won't elaborate on this. Pyron can tell this next time. I'll chime in when my appropriate role in the story crops up.
I see. You're just the narrator, right? Like you're just
yes.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I was off doing my own thing at the time. I wasn't even there. I don't even know what a carpet is. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm. This sounds credible. And how's life otherwise? And who are you playing?
I've been very, very good. I've been mostly playing Vinharlan with my community over on my own channel, which I do. It's not on GOG, but I do recommend it, and I'd say keep an eye out for it on the chance it appears on GOG. You know, I have no knowledge as to whether it will or it won't, and even if I did, I couldn't say. But keep your eyes on that one. I think it's a lot of fun, especially if you can get some players together. I've been recommending it to just about everyone I can.
Good stuff.
Yep. Watch out for logs falling on your head. That is the -- cause of death. Not the trolls, not the lightning stags, not the dwarves that pop up and stab you in the back. It's the trees. They've had enough. They're back for revenge.
So the adventure today, when we move into Forest's Vengeance, should I be concerned that this is... No, I'm just kidding.
Maybe we should be concerned.
Maybe you should be concerned. Yes,
I'm a druid. I already know the trees are up to something.
Who are you playing today, Saber?
I am a Reginald Shoon, a grave tender druid, and also a ghoul.
Also
that does not mean
a
I am
ghoul.
undead.
I like that that's the last part of this, by the way. You're just kind of like, yeah, like, you know, and also a ghoul. Like that's the... You know.
That's the afterthought. That's just what I am.
Yeah, I'm sorry I mispronounced that as shown. I've put a big note.
Shown. It's I think it's Dutch is the word I chose, so I might be mispronouncing it myself.
Shown,
I'm sure the
shown.
Dutch watchers will let me know.
They're like, no, it's pronounced Smith, you uncultured. Anyway,
And
Goddamn
speaking
British.
of which,
speaking of that, thank you, Saber. Always a pleasure. Also a pleasure to have with us Peripheral Mike, Mike Smith, who gave us a lot of information that we all know a lot more now about chairs and back support and like stopping, you know, back pain. I'm not really even joking. While we were setting up, we were hearing more details from Mike about different things that were important to know. So keep that in mind, chat, and make sure that you watch your backs because you only get one. How are you, Mike? How's life in the universe with you and who you're playing today?
yeah, I'm good. The universe is being neutral to me at the moment. My cat got a little bit unwell recently, unfortunately. The house renovations are still going okay. Sadly, the cat got some paint in his eye, so that was an emergency trip to the vet we weren't accounting for. He's better now, but he did have to wear the cone of shame for 24 hours, so he's a little bit upset about that. He's not actually here in the room at the moment, but I'm undoubted that he's outside or just pottering around somewhere, so we'll see him at some point. Yeah, other than that, I've been playing a lot of the Link's Awakening HD remake on Nintendo Switch, which is just quintessentially Nintendo, and it's just brilliant. And I'm just enjoying everything about it, including and especially the music. So every time the main overture kicks in, I'm just like, da, 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 la, la. I'm just so happy. I'm like a toddler. But today I am playing Ashflower, the neutral lay walker assassin who is currently on his... Well, I'm not going to give you all the details of his character. I'm sure they will come out in time, but he's reasonably young and he's on his own personal quest. So yes, probably just leave it at that for now. But it does involve nudging people towards the afterlife here and there when necessary. Hence why he's an assassin.
And speaking of that, actually, I didn't mention before that Reginald, Darksaber's character, also, since we're talking about cats and pets and things, you also, Reginald also has a pet, yes?
I do.
And?
Yes. My companion for all eternity, it seems at this point, Boots the dog.
Boots the dog, who is the permanent spirit companion to the ghoul. Yes, I want to make sure that we got the pets up there as well. And then, but yes, thank you, Mike. Always a pleasure to have you on board. And also, of course, always a pleasure to have Tasty Chai with us here, who is here and ready to go and has foreseen everything, or at least her character has. I was talking to Chai because Chai is the expert on Frostpunk. So I was first talking to Saber about it. And then at some point, Saber and I brought up something about child labor laws, which is just when Pyron came back and Pyron's like, what? And we were like, child labor, child labor. And she's like, Frostpunk. We're like, yes, exactly. That's pretty much everything you need to know about that game. But Chai is like the super expert on Frostpunk. So I'm going to need to pick her brain some more about how, not to be a complete utter brute to my citizens. Although I don't know, maybe that's the way she plays. Anyway, how are you, Chai? How's life in the universe with you and who are you playing?
Life is fine. The universe is doing its thing, whatever it's doing. Frostpunk is what's the word? It's like Dark Souls. So you're never gonna not hurt everybody. It's always gonna be hard.
Tell me more.
Punishing is a little bit of an understatement, but it's a lot of fun if you're into that, which I guess I just told you guys more about me than you need to know. Anyway.
Outstanding. Welcome to Talisman After Dark.
Oh no. Anyway, I am playing Muriel, who is an elven lorekeeper prophet and she's the only one with a good alignment in our party, which terrifies me because the prophets are a bit akin to the Malkavians, which is a little crazy, a little bit unhinged, and I'm the good one. So it'll be fun, right? Like, no matter what happens, this will be exciting.
Yeah, it'll be great. We have a crazy good person and then a bunch of neutral, like, what did you say, meh? So we just have a bunch of meh neutral people and one crazy good person. So that'll be great. I don't see how this could be a problem. But it's a pleasure to have Chat with us, and a pleasure to have all of the players with us. And Chat, it's a pleasure to have you as well. Let's fire up the music and talk a little bit about what happened in our last session. This will be a quick recap because what we did last session was basically construct characters for most of it. Particularly, we dealt with two characters, and those were Chai's character and Mike's character. And I do want to mention to everybody that as we begin our session today, that all of you have one light fate. Now, as a reminder to everybody, at the beginning of every session, you begin a session with a light fate. I begin with a dark fate for each player. And so I've got 4 dark fate. You've got 1 light fate, which is another way of saying this is all fine. In fact, I'm going to make a note for dark fate so I know what my own resources are. This fate can allow you to have an effect upon the rolls that you make and under what circumstances. So when you, for example, have a success, there are some special abilities that let you spend light fate when you make a test of a skill or something like that that's a failure. But usually, if you fail a skill check, you normally can't use light fate to affect that. But you can sometimes use that light fate to alter the roll in a positive way. So for instance, before you make any test, you can add a bonus die to the roll by spending a light fate. After you roll for a test, you can spend light fate to re-roll one of the dice, but you must keep the new result. After succeeding on a test, you can spend a light fate to increase the level of your success. So in this game, you can have either failure, standard, great, or extraordinary success. And so when you have a standard success, if you're like, you know what, I'd like more than that, you can go from standard to great or from great to extraordinary using that light fate. You can spend light fate to activate some of your special abilities. The players will be able to see that based upon the characters that they possess. You can sometimes spend light fate to activate an item's special quality, although I don't think you have any items yet that would apply for this, but that is possible down the line. Some spells that you use require a light fate expenditure, and when you fail a death test, which the rules helpfully note is a test to avoid dying, that's helpful, you can spend light fate to cheat death. Spending fate in this way means that you pass the test for that round, but you must make another test on the following round. Meanwhile, I can do things like spend dark fate to increase an enemy's threat, special abilities, activate effects in special areas, or spend dark fate to activate an item's curse effects. I can't imagine why I would ever do any of those things. I am simply your humble guide and referee through the land of Talisman, so I'm sure it'll all be fine. Anyway, that is what we're dealing with as far as dark fate. Now, and light fate. Now, as far as what happened in our last session, after the players had made their characters, we got a chance to be introduced to some of the characters, just the first little bits of it, because we had Reginald, who was working in his graveyard within the city, and the other characters came across him. I believe it was Regina who first found him, and there was a momentary standoff where she was like, "Carpet wars," and he's like, "Go to hell." But no, where they went back, I'm joking about the carpet part, but they were basically facing them down. Regina was like, "Why are you staring at me? Get out of my face." Reginald was like, "I'm a ghoul. I don't really care about you particularly very much either way. What are you doing in my graveyard? You know, chat. So that happened. Then we had Ashflower, who I believe showed up. I think you were the third person on the scene, Ashflower, I want to say.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
And showed up basically because you had been led in some way to this graveyard. Regina was basically using it as a shortcut to get to a tavern, if I remember correctly. Ashflower was doing it because he'd been led to this graveyard in some way, if I'm not mistaken, although correct me if I'm wrong, Mike. I think you were led to that graveyard. And then
Yes.
Muriel was the last one to show up, who had a vision, Muriel, of what you were about to see here. And by the way, since this applies to where we're going to start today, do you remember the nature of the vision? Like the basics of it at all?
I mean, I could make it up really quick.
Sure.
Just a bunch of adventurers coming together to go forth and do something very important. And I know what they look like. I know who I'm looking for, but I don't know anything else.
That's right. Also, you did also have a vision relating to a spirit that basically showed up and was somehow connected with these three intrepid adventurers.
That's right. There was a spirit.
There was a spirit, and I bring it up because at the very end of our last session, as the four of you were all sort of looking at each other, having just met several minutes ago, a spirit, some kind of apparition, appeared and gathered towards you. This creature that was basically approaching through the mist. I do want to point out that it is at night, and the mist sort of covers over the graveyard, which is typical. That's just like a Tuesday for Reginald. I mean, that's fine. But for those of you who don't hang out all the time in a graveyard, the mist seemed to be particularly thick, and a spirit approached out of the mist and said to all of you, "Please, you must help us before it is too late." And that spirit, Muriel, was the spirit that you had seen within your vision. So that was why I brought this up. Sure, let me alter that volume a little bit, Miranda. Okay. Is that better for everybody, I hope? And this, by the way, is Forest Music, courtesy of Green Forge Studio. I need to go get Graveyard Music. I'll ask him for that next. Yes, so that's what the spirit says, and with that, I'm going to bring this back to the players. All four of you are there. I will say, Reginald, that you have certainly encountered spirits, obviously on more than one occasion, but you're not familiar with this one. But it could very well be from the graveyard. You just don't particularly remember this particular sounding of the voice. Obviously, it's very indistinct and vague, so it's not like very clearly outlined, but you don't recognize the voice necessarily for what that's worth. That said, the spirit says the thing that I just mentioned. I'm going to hand things over to the party. What would you like to do?
Reginald addresses the spirit. "You're not one I've seen before. Haven't laid any to rest in a whiles either. How'd you find yourself here?"
And there's a pause, and then it seems to be swirling around near you, and then it says, "I don't remember why now. It was so long ago, but I have been here for centuries, and something has happened. You." And she points at you, Reginald, who responded to her and said, "You are the one who cares for the graves."
I took over that responsibility from my parents after they returned to Sepulchre.
One of the most ancient tombs in the remote corner of the graveyard has been defiled. Something vital has been stolen from within. I feel it.
Nobody robs a grave on my watch. This will not stand.
And the spirit just sort of wavers around you. What are the other two of you? I would say three, but one of them is currently occupied with looking at a gravestone. What are the other two of you doing, Regina and Ashflower?
Regina more or less like stares at it like, "I'm not here. I will go on soon as this situation is somehow resolved and make my way to the tavern. But let's be careful not to get drawn into this mess, because apparently this is the graveyard creeper's fault and not mine. Totally not my fault. Nope."
And I'm assuming I'm at a distance at this point.
Yes.
I haven't kind of entered conversation.
Oh,
with
that's
the
right,
other two.
because you've been observing them. That's right, yes. So yeah, you would be able to see then, I've forgotten about that. That's right. So you would be able to see Regina and Reginald and Muriel just chatting to this indistinct spirit, but you can certainly hear the sound of what the spirit says. It's a rather loud whisper that carries to where you are. So yeah, it's up to you as to what you wanted to do with that, but that's what you can hear.
So I'm glancing between the three people in front of me, basically, but I'm remaining at a distance.
Okay. The spirit sort of floats about a little bit and then says, I know not what was taken, but its presence has kept this graveyard peaceful and warded from the forces of darkness. If the vital item is not returned soon, evil spirits and other foul creatures from the nether realms will pour forth from this place and spread throughout the realm. Please, you must. And then you can see the spirit almost sort of look behind it into the even thicker mist, and it says, Oh no, they found me. I'm sorry. They're coming. And then the spirit, Regina, floats directly at and through you. So you feel this sort of cold, like, chill pass through you for a moment, and then it's gone. And then, as you sort of are there, sort of all staring for a moment, a strange, also indistinct, but looking more, how do I put this? More opaque than transparent. You're looking almost like at a creature of frosted glass. I mean, it's cloudy like a spirit, but you can see it more distinctly than the spirit you were just talking to. And two bony creatures appear out of the mist. Reginald, you've seen these before, but usually when you see them, they're in the ground and you're digging them a final resting place. You see here an apparition and two skeletons that are approaching you. And I'm going to ask everyone here to make a notice or wits test against a difficulty which I will describe later. So the way this works, this is basically like a surprise test. So what each of you need to do here, the way this works for tests is, I'm going to pull up, in case people are curious when I do this, I'm still working off a PDF because they haven't yet come out with a print edition. Hurry up, please, Pegasus Spiele, please. I hate PDFs. So as I go through, I'll sometimes be dealing with this. So when you make a test, the way this works is you're always going to start with the base of rolling 3d6. You're going to roll those numbers together and compare them against a number which I have set. But you can sometimes get some advantages to that if you happen to have a particular ability or focus in notice, in the notice test. So if you have the relevant focus for a skill, you get a +2 bonus to your die roll. So I will basically ask everybody, first of all, does anyone have a notice benefit that you see on your sheet? Okay. Reginald does.
Reginald notices.
And Regina, you do too?
Yes, I don't have the focus, but I have the I'm not unskilled, so I only get I don't get the +2, but I get the base stat for it. So if it's senses, I would get wits. I could add my wits, and if it's like
wits.
More like inside, I could intuition.
Wits.
I could add my intuition.
Okay.
But I don't have a focus, so I don't get the +2.
Okay.
So just to clarify, I get 3d6 plus 4 for my wits and +2 for notice skill.
3d6 plus 6.
No. For the notice skill, you don't get it, but if you have an additional focus, apparently.
No, he does though. He has a focus in notice.
Okay.
Yeah,
you?
there's the having the. I don't have a focus, but having the skill does give a bonus. Hang on. Yeah, I did look this up.
Just having the skill gets you your stats. But for example, I've got the melee skill, but I've got the melee focus spears, so I would get the +2 there.
Sorry, yeah.
Got
You get a 3d6, which is just a flat roll if you don't have the skill. You get 3d6 plus ability.
Plus a stat if you have
and then
a skill,
3d6 plus ability plus 2. Yeah.
If you have the focus, yes.
Got it.
That's right. I remember now.
Right. So
I, for example, who have absolutely no idea because I've had no chance to read the rules for this game. Excellent training. I have the skill, but not a focus, so I would roll 3d6 and add the relevant stat to that.
Yes.
Right. And that would be wits.
That'd be my wits. Thank you.
So, so with that said, I guess we'll have each one of you. I'll start with you, Regina. Doesn't really matter, but any of you can roll. All of you will need to roll eventually.
Well, I separate the Kismet die or not in this case?
Yes, so that's true. Very important. The third 6 of the 6-sided dice, so you're always going to roll 3d6, but that third one of the 3, it doesn't matter which, is always designated as a Kismet die, and that will have an effect, which we'll talk about if you roll a certain number on it. So
okay, Kismet die comes first. Here we go, and then 2d6 plus 1 because I've got 1 in wits.
Okay.
There we go. So it is 15 in total for me.
Okay. So also you got a with that
6
Kismet
on
die,
my
you've
Kismet
also got
die.
a 6
I get a fate.
on the Kismet die, which means I think that's right. Yeah, you just generate a.
I'm
And
gonna
I
roll my
also have
Kismet
a
die
great
first.
success because I rolled doubles.
Oh yeah.
That's right. So you have a great success. Okay.
Yeah.
So, all right. So let's start with that. So Regina has got a great success.
With a 15.
With a 15. Yeah, I should have said, by the way, that the difficulty now, I actually need to double check and see whether they want the GM to tell you what the difficulty level is. My inclination is not to, because I think it's a little bit mechanical otherwise. Like you just see this number floating in front of your head, but I will double check. In any case, that is enough to have passed it. So you do succeed. And with a great success is going to have an impact on that. You were completely successful in your action with no side effects or repercussions. So I will come back to the impact of that in a minute, Regina. Reginald, what have I got for you?
I'm going to roll the 3 together, so we'll just call the first one the Kismet die.
Okay.
Just for ease of math. 3, 6, and a 2, so
Okay.
15 total.
So 15, okay, so that is a standard success, but not a great success. That's great, though. Okay, and Ashflower has got the 1. Aha! That was that your
Yes.
Kismet die that you were using?
It was, yes. What
I
happens
have gained
with that?
another dark fate, that means.
Oh, poops.
I'll have 5. Okay, 5 dark fate. And you also rolled 4 plus 2. Okay, so we got a total of 7, it looks like. Okay.
Plus do I add my wits to this? Is that?
Right, your wits, which would be, what do you have for your wits?
3. So
Okay,
that would
so
be a
10.
total of 10.
That is sadly still not quite enough. And I'll talk
Aw.
about that in a minute, and then we'll get to what happens when Shire returns. We'll talk about Muriel. In the meantime, I will say that when there is a success, let's take a look at the great success, it means that you are not surprised by this, Regina, at all. Those who experienced a standard success, particularly Reginald, you are partially surprised. Ashflower, you're like, whoa! I guess you were paying too much attention to the conversation and not enough to the ghosts around you. So I think that's basically, I think that's basically where we're at. But Regina will be able to act normally. Yeah, exactly, Scarmel. Tries in the difficult period between baby not existing and baby playing D&D. That's a rough stage in the middle there, but we all get through it. Okay. So that's the deal with that. So that means you will get an opportunity to act without being affected by it. When you are partially surprised, so a surprised player character, Ashflower, does not get to take actions, and I get to choose one action for each enemy, and then you can make a defense attack test against any of these attacks, blah, 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 and I get to determine the position of enemies in relation to the player characters. So let me just double check and make sure about the number as a group. Blah, 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 blah. I want to see if it affects anything with the group. If you had gotten an extraordinary success, which would have been rolling triples, you would have been able to not only act normally, but alert one other character. So you could have been like, hey, yo, over there, and that would have kept them from being surprised. But you, in this case, just got a great success in this regard. So, with all that together... Okay, so that means I will get to determine the position of enemies in relation to the player characters. Okay, so I'll deal with that when we actually get to you. Basically means you're not going to be able to act on this turn, Ashflower, is what that means. Now, a partially surprised character, which is you, Reginald, will get to take an action, but you are at a -2 penalty to any action, with one exception. If you want to defend yourself, take the defend action, you can do that with no penalty. Otherwise, otherwise you are able to do anything else, just adding -2. Okay. So, and there's the deal with that. And that leads us to Chai, who's just come back. So Chai, as these two, Muriel, as these three creatures, these two skeletons and an apparition appear out of the mist, you are going to have to roll a what we call a notice check to see whether you notice them and are not surprised. So again, as Pyron Jade was just putting in chat here, if you do not have the skill at all, so you don't have the notice skill, then you would roll simply 3d6 flat. If you do have the notice skill, then it means that you can apply your wits bonus to it. So whatever your wits modifier is, you could add to that 3d6. And if you have a focus in notice, then you get 3d6 plus wits, and you can add your focus, which is +2 on top of that. So do you have a focus and or notice or... Okay. You're always looking too far away to see what's in front of you, right? Like that's how this all goes down. So then just
pretty much, yeah.
So then just 3d6. Remember that one of those dies, you're probably going to want to roll 1d6 and then 2, because the 1d6 is the Kismet die, and that has a particular effect depending on what you roll on it. So you're rolling 3d6, but one of them is special. Okay, so we're looking at a 5, and then 2d6 is 4. Okay, so the Kismet die doesn't have any additional effect. That means you've got 9, but because you do not have the skill of notice, that means that you are also surprised, as is Ashflower. So Muriel, I imagine you're just kind of like, my vision, or something else out of my vision. And so that's the deal with that. So that is going to lead us to combat. Now, I will remind everyone in chat, this is also the first time I've ever run a Talisman combat live and in person, so bear with me as I go through this as well. But I am going to fire up something which is useful for this, and that is some combat music. Oh, I have combat music that I don't even need to worry about with this, because we have... I think it's this one. Let me just make sure. Yep, I do. Good. All right. I'll add this to the game. I'll put this up into combat music. This is not the naval combat that we did last time that was also from Greenforge, but this is another Greenforge one that is a little different. All right, there we go. Appropriate. Low drum beat, dangerous, etc. Okay, so now the way that combat works, now that we've figured out who's surprised and who actually isn't, the next step that we do is we determine the position of player characters that are relative to their enemies. So you were basically on flat ground, you were in the graveyard. There are obviously a lot of gravestones and things like that, which can create obstacles if you wish them to. Like you could stand on top of a gravestone if you wish. You could try to hide behind, a monument or something like that, like a small little monument if you want. You can do certain things like that in this kind of theater of the mind approach that we have. Now, the people who are not surprised, which is Reginald and Regina. Regina and Reginald, you can engage. You get to decide basically the position of your player relative to the enemies. So if Reginald, you wanted to jump behind a monument or whatever, you could do that. Regina, you could do the same thing, or you could use your flying to fly directly at the enemy. Or I guess you could just run the hell away. I mean, I guess you could also do that. But those options are available to you. For Ashflower and Muriel, I'm going to be deciding how the enemies are positioned relative to you, because you are surprised. So, Regina, Reginald, either one of you, this is not like standard D&D, so either one of you can decide what you want to do and where you want to position yourself.
Reginald would like to position himself closest to the spirit of Wraith.
Okay. So, right, because we've got the one apparition. Actually, let me put that out on the board, too. Even though we're using Theater of the Mind, that might be helpful. All right, let's see. Give me that apparition. Do I like that? Sure. Why not? We have an apparition, and we have... Oh, wait a minute. I just realized I have a map. I forgot all about this. I do have a map. I was so worried about the test that I forgot we have one. Let me bring you all over to this map. Sorry about that. I forgot that we have.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah,
Ooh,
we have a map. I forgot all
fancy.
about that.
That's
How
pretty map.
fancy.
Okay, my bad.
That
So-
map, though. That map.
Let's bring these people on board, and then you can
Are-
decide where you want to position yourself. Yes,
Is this adventure in the book?
yes. This adventure is called Death's Messenger. Is the adventure that is in the big player's guide that everybody got.
So, if you get the book, you get the player's guide, you get the DM handbook, and you get an adventure and the world description.
Yep. And these maps, obviously.
That
but
is-
yes,
That is actually
Also,
pretty nice.
pretty good,
You
right?
get some pre-gen characters as well if you don't want to just jump straight in.
Yep. Absolutely right.
We
Yes,
are
sir.
not using pre-gen characters. I'll point out for people who missed the last session. We
No.
created these ourselves.
We sure.
And it worked
were-
pretty well, actually.
It did actually. You know what? I'm gonna change up what I put up for the apparition. I'm gonna do this instead. I think that works better. Okay, so we've got these three that basically appear out of the mists. Okay, so now I'm gonna give everyone a chance, and I will bring everyone else's characters onto the. Either way, I'm gonna bring all the other characters here onto the map. Okay. And then that's just two. I need to put on everyone else. I don't have a lay walker yet. I'm going to have to make, or have us make tokens, Mike, for you for Ashflower. The Roll20 is not so big on that.
No, there's not a lot of art for Laywalker characters either. There's one picture, that's it.
Pretty much. Okay. All right, Reginald.
This is where I noticed I should have had a bonus die for the notice test. Oh well.
Oh, really? Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. I'm going to be missing stuff like that
Yeah,
too.
me
as we-
too.
as we
It's,
figure it
it's
all
good.
out.
Yeah, because for the people watching, I have the keen senses trait, which gives me a bonus die on notice
So
tests.
then do the bonus test. That's
Oh no,
fine.
hang on.
This is just starting.
wait, hang on. I was covering over part of my adventure sheet. That's part of animal features. So I'd had to be in an animal form for that. So never
okay,
mind.
Well, then never mind.
Yep. Now I move this window and I can read the full thing.
Okay. So there we go. Okay.
Oh,
There are
um,
you.
However, I should have always been able to sense the presence of a spirit within 10 meters, even if invisible.
Yes, I would say that you would, but the thing is that there were a few. Well, here's what I would say about that. You did sense it. The problem is that you were just talking to a spirit which then disappeared. So
Yeah.
there is a reason actually as to why this would work that way. I think that also
makes
narratively
sense.
works as to why you're only partially surprised as well, and not just like, because you're like, spirits, I've seen these before.
Is there
I'd
a
go with
place
that.
on the character sheet to put our fate?
That's
Yes.
That's a
Where
good
is
question.
it?
I don't know. I don't know.
Bottom of the first sheet in the combat section.
There it is. So I'm gonna note my 2 fate that I already have.
Okay. I am temporarily actually going to use... I'm going to temporarily use this to represent you, Mike, because I don't think it's too bad.
That's fair.
And
Creature with horns.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably reasonable at the moment. Ash flower, controlled by Mike. Okay, so just make sure that you have control over your character, by the way, too, please. Make sure that
I do.
I did that. Lovely. Okay, and last but certainly not least, we have got the good elf prophet. So exactly, the spirit warned him something was coming. He just doesn't know what.
Ooh, there's our names on there and everything.
Yes.
We're getting real fancy now.
I know, right? It's amazing what happens when I actually have material to work with and not just like combing the web for everything, which is... okay, let's see. I don't know that I want that. I think I'm finding just the right character to fit who you might be, Shy, in case you're curious. Let's see. Here we
Just
go.
for clarification, does this apparition, is it incorporeal? I mean, logically, my mind says yes, it probably is, but I want to...
It's totally solid. Let me take a look and see. Let me find out.
Just let me charge it to find out.
It is incorporeal, yes.
Okay. Yeah.
You can still charge it and find out.
We're gonna find out. Okay, and this is gonna be you, Chai, for the moment. Okay, Imperial. And name plate and controlled by Chai, and you now should have control over it. Okay, so maybe I should make you a little smaller. Okay, maybe I should make, there we go, that's appropriate, that's scaled for Regina. Okay, so now, let's see, so Regina, you will get to position yourself where you want, so go ahead and figure out where you want to be. You see where these three, should really position them like this. This is where the three, no, I take that back. I'm going to move them back here. So this is where the three are coming out of the mist. So Regina, you can decide whether you want to be right up on top of them to do melee attacks, or if you want to buzz off. Just joking. Not really like to be.
Do I look like I fly from a fight? Huh? Do I look like this? Do I? Do... Yeah, see.
For some people, flight or fight is a bit more literal.
So if you wish to do that, then you can move up to your speed to engage one of these characters, and you can do that or to move to another location. So this is 1 meter squares. That's going to mess me up, but it's not going to mess all the rest of you, 3 of you anyway, who are finally like, yes, it's meters for a change. Live in our world.
Can you just imagine that everything like is 1 Celsius?
Yeah, exactly. Okay. So basically, yeah. So we're talking about 1 meter, 1 Celsius long. So what is your speed? Do you have that on your sheet?
14.
Okay. 14. 14.
Everything. I ignore difficult terrain. So.
Right. Okay. So you can move. You can easily engage these. Is basically the point.
Okay, but can I also like hold my is there a thing like can I hold my action, because this is like a job for the graveyard keeper. What do I know? I don't even know what's going on.
So here's the thing. This that you're doing right now is just the initial combat positioning. So this isn't really holding anything. It's a matter of whether you're going to be up on top of them or at a distance when the fight begins. So think of it as like the Heroes of Might and Magic thing, where you can like set your like armies before the battle actually starts. So you have to decide if you're cool being where you are to begin, where you are on the map at the moment, or if you want to be somewhere else before the combat starts.
Okay, in that case, I will just move over here, because let's see whether this is a graveyard keeper thing, and they will just have a nice chat and go back into the graves or whatever it is that goes on graveyards in this sphere. What do I know?
In these things.
And then I can still jump into actions if I feel this is what's called for.
Okay. This, by the way, in case people are curious, we'll talk about this as we get there. Going over one of these as gravestones will obviously slow you down, unless, like Regina, you happen to fly. But for everyone else, you'll be slowed down if you try to go directly through them. There's enough room that you can move around these easily enough. You could also theoretically retreat back to, and like, the door to this tomb is ajar, so you could theoretically run into there if you wished, or that's up to you.
It's not a tavern.
But say again?
It's not a tavern.
It's not a tavern, no. Definitely
No.
not. Been a long time since anything was not very lively in there, you know what I'm saying? Kind of dead right now. Just dead. So let's see. So right. So there's that. So Reginald, do you want to move anywhere? Where do you want to move to begin this combat?
Sorry, I'm just trying to clarify something, because I think I may have made a bit of an error creating the character. If you can just bear with me a sec.
Okay, that's fine.
Because from what I've just read, Banish might be entirely useless to me if I'm not a priest, and I focused in Banish. I'm just trying to clarify if that's the case. The only references I can find to Banish are in the priest description. So I was just reading up on the rules on psychic combat.
So you took it as a spell, or what is it?
No, a psychic focus on Banish, which I don't think I can even attempt to banish if I'm not a priest. So I'm just quickly...
I think you're right, actually. I'm looking.
Yeah, you're seeing what I'm seeing, I think. It's just all the references are purely within the priest class.
You're quite right.
So I might, if it's okay, I could switch it to attack.
Oh, yeah, that's fine with me. I mean, certainly.
Yeah, I'm okay with, yeah, it's just, otherwise I'm stuck with the focus that's actually, I can't even use.
So that means we're going to give you psychic with and then a focus, but you're not going to be doing a focus in Banish.
It'll be a focus on attack instead.
Focus on attack, right?
Which still works for the reason I had Banish. Banish seemed more, the less aggressive way to lay spirits to rest, which made sense for a graveyard keeper. But, well, maybe I've got to deal with unreasonable spirits.
Yeah.
Are you doing that focus on attack under psychic?
Yes, psychic attack is the focus.
Okay, that's what I thought. Cool. Okay. Yeah, no, that's no problem.
So it's just the specific focus I think needed changing.
You'll be good.
This stuff will happen when you read the rules in greater detail, and then you're like, oh.
Oh, that happens. Yeah, some of the stuff we figured out in play.
That's fine.
So, where do you want to be positioned, Reginald?
Let's say it doesn't massively change my plan. Depends on the range on psychic, which honestly this will start because I was just trying to find out what range I can psychic attack from, but I couldn't find an answer, at least in the player handbook.
You talk about like the range on.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to double check, but I think that the range here, when you're dealing with psychic ability, is probably. Take a look at what psychic combat would be. It says psychic combat within 10 meters.
10 meters. Okay.
So 10
and
squares.
How long would it... 10
Each square is a
okay.
meter.
Okay. That kind of works then. So I will, in that case, shift over to here, where there's completely nobody in my vicinity, so I don't see any harm in moving in that direction right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just
Seems
just look at the apparition. I'll just be like, "You do not belong here. Return to the other side," and unleash a psychic attack against it.
Okay, now we're going to deal with that. We're going to deal with that part in a minute, because this is just position, remember. So combat has not actually started quite yet. It's going to start in a minute, or less than that actually, because now that you folks have gone, I get to position my characters relative to everybody else. So I think since these folks are like, whoa, I think that these skeletons are going to see themselves as very much ready to deal with Muriel's nonsense. And I think this one's going to be moving in your direction, although what it's really doing is moving towards... In fact, you might even be inclined to be a little bit like, what are you doing? And then you're like, what? It's like it's focused on something behind you, almost, maybe, Reginald. Like, there's something there that's doesn't know why they're like, what? Why are you coming towards me? And the answer is because maybe there's somebody else behind. Okay. Once we figured out the position part of things, then at that point, it is time to look at, as I go back to my page in question. Okay, so let's see. Do I want to increase this threat rating? Do I want to do anything particularly frustrating to the...
Paranoia rising.
Yeah, because I'm like... well,
Urge to flee rising.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, I was like, where the heck is the fucking stat block? Now I found it. Yes, this thing... Okay. I shall use no dark fate for now. That means that we are going to move past the position stage, and then we're going to talk about the actual combat itself. Iterate how much I hate PDFs. Okay. Now we deal with order of actions. Now, because the players set the pace in this game, you folks actually get to decide who acts first and in what order. Although in this case, Ashflower and Muriel are not going to be acting initially here because of being surprised. So at the beginning of combat, one character takes an action that's determined by the group, followed by the next determined by the group until everyone has taken an action. At that point, any enemies that the character haven't engaged can make an attack or take an action. That enemy can also choose to move. If an enemy chooses to move when they're engaged, that opens them up to an additional attack from the character engaging. It's basically like an attack of opportunity in D&D. So with that said, that means that people who will get to act here are Regina and Reginald, remembering that Reginald has a -2 to actions because of being partially surprised. So what order would the two of you like to move in? And obviously Ashflower and Muriel can also weigh in on this. It's just you can't move yourselves, but you could decide which of the two of you who wants to deal with what at what time. And this, by the way, chat, is one big difference between this and D&D, where it's very much driven by you're in a particular order the whole time. This is very much the group working together to come up with a group collective decision about how the individuals act. So with that said, group, Reginald or Regina, what do you want to do against her?
I think it's your graveyard. You should act first.
I'll lay the soul to rest.
Okay.
That sounds convincing.
So you're going to do, so you will do that psychic action against the, okay.
Yep, psychic attack.
Okay. So we're going to do a psychic attack. So this action here is the roll. So for a psychic attack, you are going to use the following for resolution. So again, you're going to do a test. These guys have a particular difficulty level, which is like their AC, threat level, which is like their AC. I could increase. I did get an extra fate, didn't I? Are you doing this against the apparition?
Yes.
Okay. I think I'm going to use a dark fate, just as a practice, just so that everyone knows what we're dealing with, just so we can.
Sounds like a good opportunity for me to use a light fate.
Ah, that makes
to
sense.
increase my die.
Well, then I'll increase my. No, I'm just kidding.
Escalation.
All of a sudden, we blow all our fate in like the first combat. And everyone's like,
there is a
this
crater
for?
where the city once stood in the first encounter.
We're just like, what happened? We're like, I don't know, but I won. That's what matters.
Suddenly becomes an episode of Dragon Ball Z, just constantly fighting, just constantly preparing your attacks for an entire episode.
It's over 9,000. Okay. All right. Let me just make sure that I know how much it ups my dark fate. And by the way, I apologize in advance, chat, for. Oh, come on, this PDF. I apologize in advance for some of the slowness of this combat early on, but this will speed up as we get more used to this system. And by we, I mean me. Okay. Let's save these for the boss. Okay. I just have the hardest time. Okay. So there we go. That's what I was looking for. Thank you.
At some point you just go, sod it, I'm going to use the index instead of the search function.
Well, no, that's what I'm doing. Is I went back to that and I was like trying to go back because it's just my PDF thing is just so slow. I will 1,000% desperately need the print edition like yesterday. I could do this 10 times faster this way. Okay.
I need to remember to use the bookmark function in the PDF reader. That will be useful.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so for the Dark Fate, right? Oh, okay, by okay, so I'm going to spend a Dark Fate, and I'm going to increase the apparition's threat rating. You don't know how much I'm increasing it by, but I'm obligated to tell you that it has been increased. So I'm down to 4 Dark Fate.
Okay.
Okay. So now that we've got that out of the way, now we can move on to this apparition, to the actual psychic attack question. So yes, you're going to roll 3d6, but you're going to add some modifiers, I suspect.
So I'm going to spend my light fate to give myself an extra d6.
4d6 then.
So 4d6 plus the 4 from having wits and an extra 2 for being an attack focus in psychic combat.
46 plus 6, and just remember that one of them you're holding aside as your Kismet die. Just make sure you
First
specify.
one, yeah. First one in the listing will be that.
And apparition you're doing this on?
Yes.
Okay.
So 6, 6, 2, and a 5 plus 6 equals
Wow.
25, and I get my light fate back.
And you also got doubles, which means that is a great success.
It is.
And so your attack is a complete success, which means that you inflict full damage on your target and your opponent doesn't get an action. So you're just like, wow! What does it look like,
Be
by the way,
gone.
this psychic attack? Yeah, is that what it is? It's just saying be gone. Does Boots, like, leap up and do stuff? Oh, we need to remember Boots, by the way.
He has mechanics I'm still not familiar with, how because there's like a loyalty score.
Yep. Let me get that in play.
I mean, most of that was in the Dungeon Master's part, so I didn't really venture too far into that.
Yep. It's the Spirit Companion. Just give me a second whilst I... this is not bad. Okay, I really need to know. Is there a reason that this exists in Roll20? Really? We need a man and a seeing eye dog? The idea of having someone differently abled as represented is great. I just don't know what the effect is of doing. Like, is this an NP? I don't know. Anyway, it came from the Zombies and Humans set, for whatever that's worth. Okay. Here, however, we'll use this for Boots. Not that big. Like that. Okay. And we'll have that be Boots. Nameplate. And we'll have that controlled by Rick Saber. Okay, there's Boots. Now, as far as the Spirit is concerned... No. That's not my question. My question is why they have it listed under NPCs as a... I don't know. It seems very modern to me, but out of the list that they had it. But I'm 100% on board with that. Don't get me wrong. Okay. There we go. So, begin the game with a Spirit Follower. Other Undead Strangers. Okay, that's great. And so let's talk about followers. Okay, that's page 163. So, I guess that's true. It's from a zombie pack. Yeah, I guess that's true. Fair enough. Okay, so for a zombie, for a social benefit, I was like thinking of zombie and thinking of something else. Okay, for benefits in this, for a combat trait. So activating a follower, each round that you're in combat, you can activate a follower and become that follower's leader. And once activated, a follower acts on their leader's turn. The character may use a different follower's ability each round as long as the follower is able to get into position. Activating a follower is a free action, but only one follower can assist a single character at a time. So in this case, you could use your follower. You could add this follower's craft score to the damage from one successful damage inflicting spell, because you're just, you're doing that with your little psychic damage right now. You could add the follower's strength score if you were doing a melee attack. Obviously, that wouldn't help you with psychic. Or you could try to have him flank, basically. Use the flanking to keep the apparition, on the other side of the apparition, basically. Which means for the rest of that combat, you will get a +1 bonus to all attacks and +2 damage against that target. So you could do something like that as well. All of these, however, cost a loyalty. And at the beginning, I don't know whether or not... I don't remember how much loyalty you actually begin with. Let's see. Between 1 and 10. Did we figure this out? How much loyalty you get?
No, we didn't establish a value. I wasn't. The rules didn't give me a specific one, so he doesn't have any at the moment.
Okay. Domestic ability. Okay. Let's say domestic animals to 3 or 5. Let's say 5. He's been with you a while. So let's say he has 5 loyalty.
Okay.
Okay. So you could use that then to get a benefit in combat by using one of those loyalty. And remember that you use it, and then obviously you need to restore loyalty over time. You can also increase max loyalty if you want. So what do you think? Do you want him? He could also defend for you when another follower takes... that's just followers. That's not necessarily to you. So Guardian, you could have that be he guards you, and when something hits you, half of that damage goes to your follower instead. So these are all options that you might have for Boots.
For now, I wouldn't see the need to necessarily call him into action. It's not the first time I've had a grumpy ghost in my graveyard.
Okay. I'm wrong. His max loyalty is 8, so that's what he starts at. So his loyalty is 8. Okay, so you're keeping him for now. got it.
Yeah, I'll hold him back for now.
Okay, so, right.
So how do we work out the damage? Because I have a psychic damage modifier of 5, but I don't actually know what the base damage of my attack would have been.
Right, so, let's go back to combat. Okay, right. Okay, so on a success on a psychic damage, that means you strike your star for full damage. Okay. So on the actual damage for psychic combat, this was psychic. This is your own specific skill, or is this a that you have, or is it a spell?
It's a skill, psychic skill with
No,
attack
it's a
focus.
armor.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a question. What is the base damage for that?
I'm just furiously taking notes at the moment because I have exactly the same skill and exactly the same focus.
Okay, that's good. We'll only have to figure this out once.
It's worth. Remember, you can only initiate psychic combat against incorporeal enemies unless you have the psychic blast skill.
Okay.
I see.
Base damage for psychic attacks is 1d6,
Okay.
and your psychic damage modifier is defined by your class. So it should say 1d6 plus something.
Yeah, so that'd be 6 plus 5 then going off my psychic. It looks like it's tied to craft skill or maybe resolve, one of the two.
Which means we're talking about 11 damage, I believe, because you get max damage on this. I think
Yes.
is what that has for that great success. Okay.
Hang on, let me just double check myself. Not that I'm doubting you, just for my own benefit. Great success. Yeah, inflict full damage.
Okay.
So that's 6 plus 5.
So when you do that and you just say, get thee gone, it goes and just blasts into a million pieces, apparently of little bits of incorporeal green mist. This is what happens when you hit for maximum damage on the initial combat. So, good work. All of you, by the way, would see that, I imagine, and they're kind of like, oh, I would imagine, that's what Reginald did. Get out of my graveyard. We must protect this house, I gather, is what we're looking at.
No looting.
So, okay, that is going to take care of that guy. So that was your action. You are now good to go. And I believe you can also, let me just make sure, but I think you can also move on the turn, in which case you'd have a chance to move somewhere else. But I need to double check and make sure. So you can assist, attack, melee, attack, moves, disengage, protect, recover, yeah. So you can do that. And you can take one full actions and then, let's see, included on this list. I just want to make sure I see what's going on with movement, so I don't get that wrong. Yeah, protect, recover, defend, disengage, cast spell, attack ranged, and I'm guessing that free action is going to also be move, but let's double check. Right. There's resting. Alright, back to the index, so I can find this. Okay. Right, there we go. Up there. Okay. Right. Lovely. All right. No, free actions. Okay, include drinking an elixir potion, drawing a sword, knocking an arrow, saying a quick phrase, anything else that can be done quickly or with little effort. Few spells can be cast as free actions. Okay. No, actually it looks like a full action is anything that requires a character's full attention, which might be attacking an enemy, casting a spell, disarming a trap, picking a lock, running, or anything else requiring significant effort and focus. So, okay. So basically, I'm guessing then that what it looks like is that position, not guessing. It looks to me like position is going to be okay. So yeah, so position basically is essentially movement. So that does happen again at the beginning of every round. So you can position yourself and then you can attack or do one of the other actions that are involved. So since you already did technically your position beforehand, you got to move, then you, I guess, are going to stay where you are, and next turn you will be able to reposition, basically, because you positioned already, so that's what that was, Saber. So,
Okay, yep.
Okay, so that is going to lead us to the other person who was not surprised, and that was Regina. All right, Regina, so you have just seen this spirit blown to bits, but there are two bony skeletons facing away from you.
I'll not be outdone by that big one. Like, no. Also, if I fly away now, he might think I'm the one who stole something because I heard something was stolen, and it was totally not me. So, skeleton attack it is.
Okay. So yeah, so go ahead and move your character up to them. This is what we should have done for the movement before, but I was misunderstanding, so now I understand. Okay. Okay. So now we are going to do your attack. And the way that we do attacks here is somewhat like psychic combat. You are going to roll again that 3d6, and then you're going to add things to it based upon various foci and stuff.
Oh yes.
So what do we got?
Yes, yes. So I will use my spare two-handed, because it can be a two-handed weapon, and I'm going to use it two-handed for some extra stuff. And I just made everything really big, so everything covers my... So I'll do my Kismet die, and I'll get my 2d6 plus lots of things. Give me a moment.
lots of stuff.
Yes. So plus 4 plus 2, and the rest goes into damage. Okay, so 2d6 plus 2d6 plus 6.
Exactly, Rudno.
Should be the thing attack bonus. Oh, and another plus 1. Okay, so plus 7 in total because I'm using it two-handed.
So 3d6 plus 7. So you got 5 and then 2 more dice.
So 5 and now 2d6 plus 7 as well for a total of 18 for the attack roll and no doubles.
Okay, so 18 will hit, which means you're looking at a
standard success.
Now, these creatures do have rotted armor, and that is going to have an effect on how much damage you do. One of the reasons that Reginald's attack did so much damage is that it ignores armor completely. So it just was like, basically, he just blew his mind, literally. So that was how that worked.
And now I need to roll for damage.
Yes, you have a standard success. Now remember, because it's a standard success, you hit your target for full damage, but your opponent is going to hit you for half damage.
There's nothing I can do about it, so let's hit it. So so my physical damage modifier is 4. So I now and my damage of my weapon is 1d6 and plus 4 and plus 2 because I'm a two-handed master.
One quick note too. This is actually we're using a blade. This is not. Oh, you're using a spear, not a blade, right? So that okay.
I don't have a blade.
Got it.
That would look ridiculous.
Yes.
So it's 1d6 plus 1 for this. Then plus 4 is for my physical damage, which makes it plus 5. And then 2 because I have the two-handed. So plus 7. 1d6 plus 7 is my damage.
Okay. So 1d6 plus 7. Now from the 1d6 plus 7, there is going to be armor, which will affect this as well. So what happens is damage is inflicted. Okay, so okay, so that's going to be that damage with that. And then give me the armor effect. Okay, amount of damage of armor reduced from physical attack. Yes, so go ahead and roll 1d6 plus 7. And
yes.
then
There we go. Wow. 8.
okay. So 8 points of damage, and the armor is going to reduce a significant amount of that. And so it's going to end up taking, again, I don't know if I should tell you how much. For now, I'll say not, except that it seems to resist a lot of this damage. And it means that we are at, but it does take some damage for sure. Okay, right. Alright, so it's going to take, right, okay, so it's going to take that damage, right. Okay, so you do that, and then it, actually it doesn't go rah, it goes, and then it's going to strike you back with its blade, or it's going to attempt to. So it is going to hit you for half the normal damage that it would do. So it is using a sword.
But is it so? It's not my damage that comes back, but it's his. It's half damage.
He does his own damage to you, which is half.
And then half.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's see. It's not going to be very much, though. He did a grand total of, let's see, 3 rounded. So he's 3 rounded down. So he's basically going to do 1 point of damage to you. And if you have any armor, and I think you do.
I have lots of armor. I look like a thimble.
Yeah. So pretty much that's not, that's not going to get through to you at all. So pretty much you will take no damage from that based upon that fact. Okay. So you have done that. You've acted. You've moved. That leads us to the ones that have not yet reacted yet. So during they only get to act or respond. Now it's the enemy action phase. And so any of the enemies involved have not taken or used their actions. I get to decide what they will do. Now, here's the good news. When the skeleton that you attacked used its action, that's its action, so it's done. The only enemies that get to act are the ones who haven't yet acted. That means there's one skeleton that will get to act now, because it was not engaged by anything else. That's this guy, and he is going to turn to face the obvious threat, the most dangerous sprite of all sprites. And so he's going to attempt to do this. Let's see, and this one I think actually is going to be rolled within, not secretly, but within this die. So, okay, first one of these. Okay, oh, where's my 3D dice? Okay, so that was a 4. That's my Kismet die, and then 2 more. Nope, ignore that. That didn't count. This is what I was looking at.
Can we do that too?
Okay. no, I was ignoring because I hit the wrong button. Okay. So 4. Let's see. +3, +6, and it was a 4 on the Kismet dice. That doesn't count as anything. So we're talking about a total of 13. So 13 is going to be its attack against you. So for this one, you need to make a defense test. So the way that works is, I actually did that wrong. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to do that. Never mind me, I'm still learning. The defense test, you have to make a defense test against it, Regina. So that means that you are going to be doing a melee defense test against a melee attack. So you are going to be rolling a test here. Again, 3d6. And this time I will tell you, because the attack is coming in at you, that the threat here is... Well, actually, no, I won't tell you. Just make the 3d6 and you tell me. So you're going to be doing 3d6 unless you have benefits to either defense or something along those lines. Armor, by the way, comes into play only if damage is inflicted upon you, and that hasn't happened yet. So this guy is attacking you on his turn, essentially.
Well, he's not moving at full speed, right?
No.
Dang it. Okay, but I still get. I'm using my two-handed weapon as a two-handed weapon, so I get +1 to any melee defense tests.
Okay. So then you're going to have 3d6 plus 1, and again, don't forget about the Kismet die.
Okay, got it. So Kismet die comes first.
Yes, okay.
There we go. And then 2d6 plus 1 will just come. Oh no, 2d6 plus 2 because. No, that is. No, sorry, that's damage. Sorry, forget it. That's the damage. 2d6 plus 1 is correct. So 13?
Okay. 13 is not enough, so it is going to hit you. So failure means you do not resist any of the damage or effect, so you will take full damage from it. Full damage not meaning max damage, but meaning the damage that I'm going to be rolling. So, right. So now we'll actually do this off screen.
Now the question does my melee focus come into this?
I don't think for defense it would. No. I think that
Okay.
would be on an attack, because you already got that counted when you got the +1 to defense for your melee, whatever that was.
No, that was like, but I've got like I'm skilled in melee and I've got a focus on spears, and I wonder if this is added.
Yeah, but I don't believe so, because spears would not count as part of the defense. I don't think is the thing. You're getting, because you had, what was the ability that you just had that gave the +1?
That is from my two-handed mastery.
Right. So I don't think you would
Special
get.
ability.
Yeah, I don't think you would get anything else associated with it, because the defense test, as I read it, the defense test is that you are using your melee, which is agility or brawn, to defend against melee attacks, which you included with all of the stuff you just did was the +1. So that's what the two, like, it is blocking with the spear.
No,
basically.
I did not include my agility or brawn.
Oh, okay. Well,
Then it would be +4, because I've got 4 in agility, and spears are an agility weapon.
Okay. Well, then that would be the case. So then you would end up with like a 17, is what you're saying.
Yes, and
Okay.
if now skills also count, then I would get even more. But with this, it would be 17.
I think it's 17. So that means that is no longer a failure then. So that means you're only going to suffer half of the damage or effect, and we haven't even talked about armor yet. So you are going to take, he does 6 points of damage normally, but your armor is going to reduce how much of it? What's your armor rating?
11? 11?
Okay. That sounds reasonable. By the way, do you have did we mention the agility penalty for you wearing?
I don't get one.
Oh, because of the, okay.
I've got heavy armor training.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Mhm.
Cool.
I'm a warrior.
Okay, that's right. So that means that you are going to be, all right, you are going to do this. Okay, now the first time your armor reduces damage in an encounter, which it just did, you'll see on your character sheet there's an armor points track. So you need to mark an X on that armor points track. And when all the boxes are marked with an X, the armor is destroyed and cannot be repaired.
Let's see how this works. Beep. Oh no, it just disappears. So I'll just take one of my armor points off, I'd say.
Okay, that sounds
So
good. And I
one,
think
one point disappears?
Right. 1 point
Okay.
disappears. So every time it takes damage, you're going to get 1 point. You can refit it during a short rest, but we'll talk about that when we get there. Okay. But otherwise, you took no damage, so good job. Okay, that is going to lead us back up to everyone is now operated. So now we go back up to the beginning, and this time we don't have to deal with surprise. So now the positioning here should be fairly easy to manage, I think. Regina, you were engaged with these skeletons, so if you were to try to move away, you would be attacked by them, like a free attack, so I'm assuming you're going to stay engaged with them, is that right?
Yep.
Okay. All the rest of you, though, are not engaged and could do basically whatever you want here. So since no one's surprised, Muriel, Ashflower, Reginald, at this point you can decide where you want to position yourselves relative to these enemies. These two have not been engaged by you yet, but obviously one of them is being engaged by Regina, by this flying sprite. So where do the three of you wish to go?
I'm poking it and I'm chipping away at it with my spear, like.
My plan is to cast a spell at range and maybe use boots to get flanking on one of them to assist the animated sprite, who is apparently taking full-size swords to the face and not feeling the effect.
Okay, that sounds promising, although I do need to double check because I think that the flanking may only benefit you. I don't think you can benefit another character, but I'll check that. In the meantime, I saw that Muriel, is that you just like...
Yes, I just hid behind a gravestone.
Okay. All right, you're like, that's where I'm going to go. Okay, be aware
fair.
that means that you can't attack on this round if you wanted to. I'm sure that's fine. I'm just letting you know.
Muriel's just like, oh, walked in on a thing here.
Yeah,
like
pretty much.
That's pretty much it. Okay, and that leads us to Ashflower. Where do you want to position yourself?
So I'm going to position myself just here on the other side of Boots, and I'm leaning now down to look at Boots because it's fascinating. I've never seen a spirit pet.
While the fight is going
so-
on behind you?
I mean,
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I was
It's
going
not
to
my-
say,
it's not my
can he
fight.
see it? Because it's a spirit? But then I thought,
that's a
lane
good question,
walkers are
actually.
probably more likely than others.
I think it's up to, I mean, I would say that it has a kind of incorporeal presence of some kind. I think so, because it doesn't specifically state it as being invisible. So,
yeah, I'd agree with that. Yeah.
you know, that would be my thought anyway.
So basically, what you've seen
Well,
is
And because he's in his
a-
home ground, he has a strong presence. Because he's on home territory.
yeah, slightly more solid. Think like not quite like Zero from Nightmare Before Christmas, but not far off.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I'm basically big cloak, big hood, even bigger because it's covering the horn. So you essentially, Reginald, you kind of see just this quite thin cloaked figure with massive head. Just lean in and look at Boots for no apparent reason.
Also, Saber, I'm really sorry to change this up again, but I looked at the follower list. You actually have a spirit which is in the form of a dog, not a dog in the form of a spirit. So the reason that matters is it means that the loyalty is much lower than I thought.
Right, okay.
The loyalty is 3, not 10. However, it also means that it can protect you against certain psychic attacks and things like that. So there's other benefits, but I want to make sure we're clear about this dog so that we don't get messed up about it. I mean, he is He is the best dog, but still. Okay, so there's 3. Lovely.
updated.
Okay, so you're just looking at this dog. Okay, I love that. Okay, so Regina is engaged, Muriel's behind a stone, Ashflower is looking at the dog, and Reginald is ready to fire off an attack. Okay, so at that point, all of you have the opportunity then to take an action besides this positioning. So now you can actually act. So, and you 4 can talk about which order you want to do everything in. If it involves Muriel and Ashflower, basically like, Muriel, you just stay there shivering. That's like what you do this round, that's fine. But if you want to do something else, you can. As your action, you could talk about that with your teammates. Same thing with Mike with Ashflower. If you want to just keep looking at Boots, or if you're actually going to do something to Boots or do something to, anything in front of you, like that's up to you, but you folks can decide what order and what actions you want to take.
Okay, I will. I'm going to cast a lightning bolt at the nearest skeleton because I am really annoyed.
Okay.
So, spirits of the wild, cleanse this filth from this place of peace.
Can that spill over to me because I'm not grounded?
It doesn't have that effect, no.
Okay, just asking, chain lightning or something like that.
No.
Just
It is
asking for a friend who
purely
is wrapped
single.
in metal.
I will just double check. I do have it pulled up. Oh no, I don't have cast spell.
It's
at
a
the
full
moment,
action, costs a
no.
spell point.
Yep, that's fine. I have 5 of those. Okay, so lightning being cast at. I have to beat threat level for this with 3d6, and I get +6 again because I have nature spell focus.
I'm
Okay.
totally into my wood pecking away on the skeleton, so I'm not.
Okay, so does 15 with no Kismet bonus beat threat?
Okay, so 15, that does beat the threat, which means that it is
Okay.
a standard success.
Okay.
And
It will need to be a defense test now. Athletics agility at 15, my craft plus 5.
that's actually the other way around. If you have a
Oh.
lightning bolt cast at you, you have to worry about a defense test. You beating the threat means you hit it. So
Okay.
it is going to take damage equal to 1d6 plus your craft. And by the way, as a quick note, chat, if the Kismet die had been come up as a 6, it would have meant that the target would also be stunned until the start of Reginald's next turn. But that did not happen. But I'm just letting you know there's lots of ways that Kismet dice get used in here.
Yeah, it's a nice mechanic. It took a little while, a few rereads to get my head around, but I think it's got a lot of fun to it. 1d6 plus 5, so I do 10.
Okay.
But it was only standard, so...
10 standard, and I believe that means that it does take... I think armor is still in play for this creature on a lightning bolt. It's not psychic, so I think it's still...
Yes.
it still
Yeah,
takes
lightning
that.
bolt doesn't specify anything about that, I think. Hang on.
Also, did you hit the one that Regina was attacking? I missed that.
No, the nearest one to me is what
Okay.
I'm focused on.
Got it. Okay. All right. So, cool. That is going to be... So you... Reginald is clearly going for the best reveal of character ever, right? Like, you all walk in and he's just like, blow your mind, lightning bolt. Like, everyone's just like, dang, man, is the best gravekeeper of all time. Where's the buddy cop movie with him and Boots coming out? All right. So, okay. Yeah, so I believe, unless there's something I'm missing, that is 5 points, that's damage taken. So it goes, like hisses as it's, slammed backwards by the power of your lightning bolt. Okay, that's going to lead us up to, we have Ashflower, Muriel, and Regina who have yet to act. Regina, you're technically, because of where they're positioned, you could really engage either of these skeletons. So you could attack either one. The one in front of you looks to be a little less hurt than the one that was just zapped by a lightning bolt, which barely missed you, by the way. Like, just goes...
Yeah, I'm like, hey, that looks dangerous. Also, you underestimate my single-mindedness. I'm still not done with the skeleton. Very much,
Okay.
apparently.
Fair enough. So go ahead and roll your melee check then again on this thing, your melee attack.
Oh, okay, I'm just gonna scroll up and see what it was. So it was 3d6 plus 7. I'm gonna
so
do
much.
it the same as Saber, with the first die just being the Kismet die.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, and I rolled doubles.
You also rolled another Dark Fate for the GM.
But I also rolled doubles.
But what matters here... No, you're right. You rolled doubles.
Yeah, that's not actually mutually exclusive either, as far as I know.
That's right.
What I've read.
That's true, actually. So you got the kid, but at the same time, you got doubles. Okay. So that means that if you beat the threat, and you did, that means that we are now looking at a great success, which means, I believe we said, last time you just had a standard success, right?
Yes.
So the great success, I think, means that you you succeed without getting hit back.
Yes.
So you just do your damage to it. I don't think that's
Yes.
max damage, though. Let me just make sure.
Nope, it's not max damage. I
Okay.
just do my damage.
Okay, so just do your damage, yep.
I just do my damage, which is 1d6 plus 7. If I did everything correctly. And it's 11 this time. Look, I can roll.
Okay, so 11. Now, something very interesting happens here when you do this. I'm going to spend a Dark Fate. And normally, as I say, I only say this when it's important for the sort of effect. I'm going to use one of my Dark Fate to trigger something called Undead Fortitude. And the effect that has here is that if a character's single attack, which is what this was, does not inflict enough physical damage to completely destroy a skeleton's body, the skeleton ignores all damage dealt by that attack. So the skeleton's so you just stab right through it, and I like to imagine that the spear goes through its rib cage, and it basically just picks out the spear, hands it back to you, and then gets ready to fight again, basically. But you do no damage to it. Now, I had to use a Dark Fate to do that, by the way, but that was clearly a time when it would use this Dark Fate. So, sadly, that is
Okay,
what happened.
I'll fly in and out of the ribcage like a very angry bumblebee, doing my thing.
Inside the I love it. That's great. Okay, good stuff. That leads us with Muriel and Ashflower that remain. What would you like to do?
You said I can't attack, right? Because I ran and hid behind a thing.
You can if you have either a spell or a ranged attack of some kind, like a bow.
I do
or
have a
crossbow.
spell.
Well, you could do that then.
I have Curse of Flame.
That sounds terrifying.
It is. You cause any one object to burst into flame. The object itself is not harmed, but anyone holding it is burned. So I was going to set their armor on fire.
Interesting. Let me look at it. What page is that?
126. It says that if the object is being held or worn, the difficulty for your spellcasting test is equal to the owner's threat.
Aha. Okay. I love it. All right. The owner's threat. Okay. So. Okay. So that means that you are going to be making a test here. So you're going to be rolling 3d6.
Okay.
And then you're going to be adding to that. Go back up there.
Let's do the 1.
So
There's the 2.
3d6. Remember to use up a spell point. I think it's 1 spell point for that.
Yeah.
Ooh, doubles.
I did get doubles.
Oh, nice, doubles, which means you're looking at a great success if it defeats the threat. Now.
Yeah.
Let's see. So what have we got? It's got a. The thing is the modifier though that I need to make sure that I confirm.
I think I like this mechanic with the doubles.
I'll tell you what else I would like about it too is the fact that this
cool.
uses up enemy actions, so it's actually like we get to the top of the round a little faster. I just have to get my head around it because it's so different. Okay, so right, so this is basic arcane, basic mystic or nature, common. Okay, so do you have a you have the skill nature or mystic, right?
I have focus on mystic.
Okay, so that means that you would get the benefit of, let's see, mystic would be, I'm trying to remember what the heck mystic is. What it's tied into. Okay, 3 schools of magic, I know about that. Not the village mystic. I know about regular talisman. I was like, you mean that? Okay, spellcasting. Okay, mystic spellcasting. That's what I need. All right, yes, lovely. 70. Okay. Right, because mystic spellcasting, you gain a focus on spellcasting. Mystic, blah, 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 blah. Begin player. And also now this is one of the mystic spells you had committed to memory, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So you're able to do that, which means that as you cast, okay, you begin with 3 mystic spells, number of spell points you can craft, blah 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 blah. All right. So the focus means you're going to get +2. I just want to know what the heck the modifier is for this.
Can we say insight because it's my highest number?
That's interesting. Interesting. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let me see. Yep. Sorry, chat. Once I do this once, I won't have to do it again. Every time, I move that much faster. Okay.
I will have to do it again.
No, that's
warning,
fine.
just an
I
FYI.
won't, and that's the that way I can help you more clearly. But okay, right? Yes, I know all about that. And then actually using an action, spell as a full action. Blah 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 blah. Difficulty equal to your spell casting test. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. That's fine. Okay, yes. Spellcasting test. Mystical spells channel a caster's spiritual power. Yes. It might just be +2. So it may just be 3d6 +2. Let's go with that for now. I will try to figure this out later on. Because I don't know what other modifier would be there. I think it's just 3d6 +2. Let's start with that.
Okay, let's do it.
So, 3d6. And so you had what was that, a 10?
Yeah.
Plus 2 is 12?
Mm-hmm.
Did you want to use also a light fate, which can, I think, increase?
Well, now I do.
Well, no. I'm not trying to lead you into it. I just wanted people to be aware of it.
So she does not get any ability added to the 3 dice?
That's what we were trying to find.
We were trying to find it, but I can't find it right now, other than the plus 2 for the focus.
Yeah.
So let's see.
So unless someone else can find it, because I don't remember that I saw that, but I also didn't read the rulebook very well. So
If you've got the focus, you should be able to add the stat relevant to the skill as well as the focus. For the focus gives plus 2. Having the skill gives the relevant stat as well as a bonus.
The issue is that I don't know what the skill is, what mystic is triggered off of. That's the problem.
yeah, that's what we were trying to find.
Oh,
So-
casting a spell then.
Yeah.
It should still be I don't know your character sheet, but for example, mine was craft. Was it craft? I'm confused myself now.
Yeah, double check actually, because you would probably be the closest to that I would know.
Yeah. Hang on. It was. Actually, I might have done my modifier wrong for my spell, actually.
Hey, what's up, Infinity Simplex? And hi, chat, by the way. Welcome, everybody, to day 2 of Talisman Adventures. We are in the midst of a combat, and it's going about medium pace, but we are also, this is the first time any of us have been in a combat as player or GM in Talisman, so it's going a little
It
slower.
sounds like
but
all of us are reading the rulebook right now, trying
Yeah.
to find something.
yeah, basically.
Live PDF reading.
Yeah.
So, this is a spellcasting thing, right?
Yes.
And you have your mystic on focus.
Yes.
Yes.
And now depending and it's insight for mystic.
So it'd be
Oh, it says
insight
insight?
plus 2.
So it is
Oh, it is insight.
It is 3d6 plus insight plus 2 if you've got a focus on mystic.
Plus 2, it's the insight then. Okay.
Okay,
Thanks,
I will
Mary.
take
Yeah,
a note of that so
it's-
we won't have to look it up again.
It's on page 55 if somebody wants
Thank
to
you,
look it
thank
up.
you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Just
Brian.
double check.
Note taken. Okay, so my insight then is 6.
It's resolve for
Yeah,
nature.
nicely.
There's the spellcaster. Yeah, I see it now. Okay, cool.
Right, yeah, so it is plus 5, plus 2 for me on spellcasting then.
So you get plus 6 plus 2, so you get another 8, so you're at 16.
I'm at 16.
Okay,
Okay,
so that-
then I don't want to use my light fate.
Okay, right. I was going to say, and that definitely, which would have allowed you to re-roll the die, but that in any case, that is a hit, and that is also a great success because of the doubles, which means
Perfect.
that you are going to do on the great success. I just saw this. Just saw this.
It's nice that you're not locked out. If you pick nature or mystic whatever, you're not locked out of the other spells. You've just got less advantage
That's
with
right.
it.
Which
Yeah.
is pretty cool.
Well, I
Okay.
rolled my damage for 3, and it was on. That guy. This guy over here.
Okay. All right. So, and that was just for this object to turn out. The object is engulfed in flame. Flame immediately causes 1d6 damage to the owner, an additional 1d6 each round. They remain in contact with the object. Okay. So, how much damage did you just say? I'm sorry.
3.
3. Okay. So 3 points of damage to that. All right. And did you set? You said what specifically object? The sword.
His
or-
armor.
His armor. Okay. That seems logical. And you said you did it to the one that.
The one
that-
standing next to the gravestone.
Okay, which is the one that Regina's been dealing with. Okay.
Yes.
Alrighty, so this one is now burning, to be clear, Regina. I like the idea that Regina's fighting, and meanwhile there's been a lightning bolt and flame, and just like, it's this thing just like,
I've been hitting it so quickly it ignited!
right, you have no idea that someone else did it, you're just like, my power is immense! Okay,
So fast!
there is the fire.
I never knew I could do that.
That's the best. Okay, and just make sure you deduct that 1 spell point, please, Mira. Okay, I think that's everybody but Ashflower. Ashflower, are you just going to keep staring? Tell me what you're going to do here?
So the skeletons haven't actually been aggressive to myself. That's correct. Yes.
That is true. They haven't had much of a chance. It's true.
Yeah, there's just been a bit of a scuffle over the other side of this path. Okay,
Right.
I'm gonna walk up to Reginald. I'm going to inspect him for a moment. And can I speak during this action?
Yes, but remember that each of these is about like 5 seconds, so you're not going to have a lot of time. So just like, what's up, type of thing.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm gonna look at him, and basically you just see two like orange eyes peering at you under this hood, and go, I think I need to speak to you. That's it.
We're a little busy.
I wasn't sure if I can reply right now, so I hadn't said anything, but that was essentially going to be my
you could
reply.
Say something quick. I mean, like, you could do like just if you want. Okay. Okay. Lovely. And the good news about that, so this is what we mean, chat. So all of them have taken an action, but because the skeletons would have had a chance to react on theirs in the ways that they did, they were both attacked by these things. Actually, wait, let me think about that. Okay, the one that was engaged by Regina is definitely done with their action. I think the other one may also have been done because it had to defend itself, but let me double check to make sure. So basically it's a concurrent as opposed to consecutive combat, where everything is happening at the same time, theoretically. Okay. So, enemy actions. Yes, please get me down to that. There we go. So, have not taken or used all of their actions in a round. Yeah, so they have not. So one of them is left over. So one of them, let's see. Is they going to stay on Regina? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so it is going to attempt to hit you once more. So you're going to be making a defense test against this. Again, Regina. So again, you are looking here for either melee, Jill your brawn, same thing. Defense against a melee attack here is what you're doing. So 3d6 plus whatever modifiers you have.
3d6 plus 1, I think it was. Let me scroll up. Yep. Wait. Yeah, 3d6 plus 1.
Okay. Because
I get a plus 1 from my... If I don't get my melee modifier, do I get this? I still haven't found this out.
Yeah, I still don't think so, because I still think that's included at what you're getting that would be like that is the +1. That's the two-handed thing. That's basically accounting for that concept of defending in combat. If I'm wrong, then we'll address it later, but I'm pretty sure that's how I read it.
Okay, so that is 3d6 plus 1. 3d6 plus 1. No, that's 3d6 plus 7. Give me a minute, I'll just make a new one. 3d6 plus 1. Can we do this? Then that would be 10 if I didn't get anything else.
Well, the good news is...
And it's a triple.
Yeah, that's right. It's a triple, which means extraordinary success. Which means that, first of all, you take no damage at all, and you actually get to inflict half damage. You get to damage it back. You're only going to do half damage, though. So you're going to make your damage roll for your weapon, and then it will take half that damage.
Which is 1d6 plus...
Yeah, plus something.
2.
Plus 2,
Plus
yeah.
2. Because... Wait, inflict 2 additional points of damage, so it's 1d6 plus 3.
Okay. Sounds good.
I'm figuring this out.
1d6 plus 3.
Yes, 1d6 plus 3 for my damage. Which is an 8.
8, okay. And then it's got armor, so it's got that, which is... Okay. All right, so you'll be happy to know that this did take that damage. It is not yet destroyed, but it did take that damage. Okay, and that is going to be the end of its, in quotes, turn. That's the last action that we have. And that brings us up to the top of the round with 2 heavily damaged skeletons. And all 4 of you having yet to really take any damage, I believe. At least damage that sticks. So we are going to again ask everyone to position themselves. So Muriel, Regina, I'm going to guess you're going to stay on them because of the single.
Of course, I'm totally killing them. Apparently, killing them so fast they're setting on fire. They might
lightning and fire. I know, it's your speed. I know. And then we have Reginald, Ashflower, and Muriel. What do the three of you want to do in terms of positioning? Muriel, are you going to stay in that same spot, or?
Yeah, I think I'm all right here.
Okay.
I'm just going to look at the glowing eyes, go, little busy, excuse me, and I'm just going to move over to here.
Okay. Ashflower, what are you going to do?
I am going to look over to the two skeletons and then look back at the ghoul. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. All right. That means it is action time. So the four of you can decide which actions you want to take when. Whether you want to lead off with spells and then have Regina, or like however you want to manage.
I think everyone would like me to do what I want to do first, and you'll see why when I do it.
I
can't wait.
agree with you, yeah.
So I start humming really low and just swinging my arms in circular motions, go like, and
yeah, none of the big ones is helping. I see it.
And I summon up a gust of wind on the two skeletons.
Ooh.
So what gust of wind does is, if I beat the difficulty of 11, then my target and any enemy, and it specifies enemy, within 10 meters is knocked down for my craft damage.
Oh, nice. Did you say if you beat? What is?
It's difficulty 11. It specifies 11, not threat for this.
Oh, interesting. Okay, cool.
Mhm.
All right.
And just for gits and shiggles, I'll use my light fate I recovered to give myself an extra d6.
Alrighty.
Okay. And that's a double. No kismets.
Okay. That is a double no kismet, which means that is a great success, which means that the action just works. And okay, cool. So yes, so
Okay.
you said that they are knocked over.
They are knocked down, taking 5 damage each. Some miscellaneous rocks and debris also swept up in the whirlwind, and that will be that.
All right, they're going to take 5 damage each. I have to see too. I assume the armor is going to reduce some of that.
It doesn't mention anything about ignoring armor, so I
Okay,
imagine
so-
it does.
Okay, so means that we have
Yeah. Pretty much only my psychic attack is pretty much the only thing that ignores damage.
Yeah.
Armor.
Okay, and then this one. Right. Okay, they are both knocked to the ground. They don't like it. Alrighty. Let me mark them as prone. And you. Also prone. Oh, and I need to, now that I think of it, I need to check that burning thing and see when that goes off. Because if it goes off... Okay, let's see. Additional 1d6 each round they remain in contact with the object. Okay. Right, so I'm going to have you... they are in contact with the object now. So since we're at the top of the part of it, top of the round, essentially, Muriel, I would like you to roll another 1d6 to see how much damage the burning skeleton takes.
Or
Okay, so 4. Let's see. Okay, since the armor itself is on fire, I'm not going to allow any armor against the armor. And that was the one that was closest to the gravestone, I believe you said?
yes.
Okay, so this one, this is not a physical attack, and this thing... Oh, nope, that's not what I meant. Does not delete Regina. It deletes. It is burned to a crisp as you see marrow sort of sparking. And hey, Lone Wolf.
I cheer.
All right, that's a free action. You can cheer. Okay, and that leaves just the one. So that plus the flames of this thing were really helpful. Okay, so Ashflower, you did the Gust of Wind. That leads us with Regina and Muriel and Ashflower.
I was going to say I did the Gust of Wind.
No, I
Yes,
said that, didn't I?
yes.
Didn't I say?
No, he said I did the Gust of Wind.
Oh, my
I
bad.
did
Sorry.
not do the
Reginald did the Gust of Wind. Ashflower has yet to go. And then Muriel and Regina is engaged in combat still. So,
Ashflower is yet to do anything.
who wants to go? That's true. Ashflower could just stand there. Who wants to go next?
Can I ask?
That the tiny pixie wants to go.
Yeah.
I'm a sprite. And of course I want to go. I'm killing them. I'm like completely killing them. So yes.
And you had a question, Ashflower?
The skeleton, is that a prone skeleton?
It is a prone skeleton.
Okay.
I don't know actually what the effect of being prone has in this game. Combat.
I'm just wondering if they are classed as immobile.
If they are what?
Immobile.
Let's find out.
I'd like to point out that the rules for Gust of Wind do actually have a stipulation that it is technically possible to blow things off cliffs using it.
Yeah, if during this campaign, if we do not get at one point a first roda off a cliff, I am not going to be.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be pleased.
100%. Then we are just packing it up and going home, people. We have failed as adventurers if that doesn't happen.
I mean, really. It doesn't say that there's any particular advantage to it. I think the real key would just be, I think the real key would simply be that it could knock someone off a cliff. Also, that they would have to then stand up. But it doesn't look like you get any combat benefit to them being prone when you attack them. So
No, I get a combat benefit from one of my skills if the target is immobile or unable to take actions.
no, it is able to take actions. It's not immobile.
It is able to take actions.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
that
it's not
answers my
immobile.
question then.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely not immobile. Hey, Triven. Okay, so that means, Regina, you can make your attack against this prone, burning skeleton.
On it! I'm gonna finish it off. I hope. 17.
17 will hit, so that is a standard success.
Yep.
So let's see what your damage is going to be. And then it will do.
Oh,
half
it's
damage
already
when
gone
it's
again.
attacked Back to you.
1d6 plus 1. 4.
Okay. That is not going to break through its armor. Which is ironic since its armor is on fire. But it's not going to break through, sadly. So, unfortunately, that is not going to get through on it. It is going to have a chance to attack back against you, although you will take only half damage against it. So, when it attacks you back... Okay. So, let's see. It is going to... So you're going to need to make a defense test. Actually, wait a minute. I think when it gets hit back... Okay.
I think I'm not
Yeah, you
sure if
don't
I
do a
get a
test.
defense.
Yeah,
No,
I
I
think
don't get anything. I just take it.
It just strikes you, yeah. But you are
Yeah.
going to do half damage. So let's see. Or it will do half damage. So right now this is 6 points of damage, which would be half to 3. Minus your armor would be 0, but your armor will take another hit.
Okay,
Okay?
got it.
Um,
Also, for the usual defense test, I found them there on page 44, and I
Yeah.
get to use my melee.
so you do get to add the melee. Okay, all right.
Yeah, against melee attacks, I get to add my melee, and then there are other kinds of attacks where I would have to use other things.
Okay, cool. My bad. I'm glad that we know. All right. So that is Regina who is gone. That is Reginald who's gone. That leads us Ashflower and Muriel who are left.
Well, at this point I've moved, haven't I? I can't move again. Oops.
So, yeah, because you position yourself at the beginning. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. I would like to draw a dagger from my cloak and throw it at the skeleton.
Okay. I should say you could use your action to run at it, but you wouldn't be able to attack.
No,
so
that's
I won't. Okay, so you're going to throw a
It's fine.
dagger.
I need the ghoul's attention. The ghoul is doing something quite powerfully magical to these skeletons. These skeletons need to be removed.
Seems like a plan. Okay.
Thank you.
So, for this one, we are going to be using a ranged attack, which is our first time we've done that. So, to do the ranged attack melee, attack ranged. Show me attack range. There it is. Okay, so throwing a weapon. So again, this is going to be a similar deal in that you're going to be rolling 3 dice, and then you're going to be adding any bonuses therein. So I believe you have a focus and range, or you have the skill ranged, or something like that, which would allow you...
I do have the skill, yes. I do have the skill range.
So you can add then what ranged is based upon.
Yes, which is agility.
So you're going to add your agility, and you have a focus in it?
I have a focus in small weapons. Does that count? Small blades?
I think that's what a small weapon is. Let me see.
Is it ranged small weapons or melee small weapons?
No, it is melee small weapons, so I wasn't sure if I could add that.
Yeah, well then no. Because you'd be using a small weapon as a melee thing. It is a small weapon, but you wouldn't get the same thing. So it's just 3d6 plus agility. And remember, one of those dice is the first one, I guess, since everyone's doing it that way, is Kismet die.
That would be a really good way of doing it. So 3d6 plus 3. 3d6 plus 3. Let's roll that.
I see doubles.
I did roll doubles.
16 and a double, which means a great success.
Yes.
And a great success.
I've already forgotten what that means.
A great success is going to mean that your attack is a complete success. You inflict full damage on your target, and your opponent does not get an action. I should say that an opponent with a ranged attack could have theoretically gotten an action against somebody, but this creature is not ranged, so you don't have to worry about that. So you just inflict full damage on your target. Now, I wish they were a little bit clear about the full damage thing, because that means you're just going to basically be rolling.
Roll damage. There are no
you're
penalties
rolling damage.
to damage.
It's not like a critical hit or something. Because standard success
it's the difference
is also
between full damage and max damage, isn't it? It's
exactly. So you're going to be rolling your dice.
I do not remember how to do damage. I believe it is 1d3, but I don't know if I add anything to that.
Well, let me take a look at your character sheet.
Thank you.
You have...
Am I adding my physical damage modifier?
No. So you would have, let's see. You're throwing one of your daggers. Oh yeah, we don't have a weapon damage.
There's no weapon damage on it. If I have a look for the actual dagger in the equipment table,
yeah, I say
then
1d3.
that says yes.
Mm-hmm. So, inflicted damage is determined by your damage modifier, also Kaya DM. Ranged attacks do inflict physical damage. I take that back. So yes, you would add your physical damage modifier. So it's 1d3 plus your physical damage modifier.
Okay.
And then again, remember, its armor will subtract how much it actually takes of that.
Yes. 1d3. 1d3? How do I roll a d3?
1d4 minus 1.
That'll do it. Thank you. I have rolled dice before, I promise. So 1d4, well, might as well, I should have just done minus 5. That's awful, so 5.
Okay, so 5, unfortunately, it just, it seems to not be particularly affected by that attack. And it just sort of hisses at you. Okay, and you are going to stay where you are.
Yes.
And that's going to leave everyone but Muriel. So your armor is still burning. The armor that you set on fire is still burning, but
so the thing about it is that I'm a bookworm, so I don't really have anything to hit it with.
So now you're just going to read.
I'm just gonna read.
Do you have a range? Do you have any kind of a ranged weapon besides the spells?
I really don't.
Okay. That's fine. I mean,
I guess I could throw my water bottle at it, but I think that I should keep that.
Keep in mind, too, that you can also, the other actions that you can take in combat may also include being able to assist another character in combat. You can do that. You can also, we already did the cast spell. You can defend. You can try to protect another character from taking damage from an incoming attack. You don't have any lost life, so that doesn't count. So you recover wouldn't help you. But you could basically, you're already disengaged. That doesn't fit. So you could either just defend yourself for a round. You could attack, which you're not going to do. You already cast a spell, and you don't want to cast another one right now. So that means, I would say, either protect another character, assist a character, or defend yourself.
So assisting, that's just like giving them an extra roll, right?
Right, which now that I think of it isn't going to help because you're going last. This is one of the things to think about. This is why we think about the order. In the future, you can do that where you say, I'm going to assist them, that's my action. Then you would go first, then they would go second, and that would help them to do whatever it is based upon that. So, but for right now, that's not going to help us because you're the last person in the round.
I guess I'll figure out who I'm standing on and read about their life while I cower behind this gravestone.
Do you want to defend yourself in the meantime? Because
I mean, sure, but that guy's pretty far away, and there's a sprite who's wailing on him.
It's very unlikely he's going to come running at you. I would agree. Plus, he's also on the ground, prone at the moment. So.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes,
hey,
I would
double
say
whammy
that's
on
not much likely.
Because I could run up and stomp on him, but I feel like that would not go well.
You don't want to stomp on a fire. That'll put it out. We don't want that to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, lovely. So that brings us back up to the top of the round. I want you to roll the 6-sided die again, please, Muriel, to see how much damage he takes from his flaming armor.
Another 4.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I would say that he is in some pretty big trouble. You smell the very strong smell of burning bones. Okay. And now, he didn't get a chance to act, by the way, because he had already used up his action when Regina attacked him. So now it's your folks' turn. This creature is almost dead, or undead dead. So the question is, what do you all want to do in terms of order? Does this, and let's talk about positioning first, actually, yes. So Reginald, you're going to position yourself there to engage the creature. Regina's already on the creature. Muriel and Ashflower, are you staying where you are then?
Yeah, I'm happy where I am.
And Ashflower is engaging the creature.
I'm moving, yes.
All right, so all three are engaged. Now we can talk about the combat order. Muriel, do you want to try to assist somebody with whatever they're going to do? And then they would need to tell you, this is what I'm planning to do. You can also just say, hey, Muriel, can you help us with this? You don't know her name, but like, hey, you behind the gravestone, can you help me with this?
I am available for assistance, yes. So if anyone wants an extra roll, you got it.
So how would flanking work? Do we have to attack it first for it to be classed as flanked, or do us just standing here give that bonus?
You would have to, so flanking also has to do with certain specific kinds of things. So if you were, you could basically assist someone else to flank them. So if, like, for example, if you wanted to give a flank bonus to, I don't know, like, let me look it up, by the way, while I'm doing that. Also, Muriel, you would be able to do something. You could be creative in it. So if you don't have a particular combat skill, you could use the example it gives in the book is that you could use agility to swing from a rope and slam into an enemy. But a melee warrior can't assist an archer who's attacking an enemy, right? Like if they're firing an arrow, you can't run faster than the arrow and like hold it or something. You know, you can't do that. So it'd have to be something where you'd have to basically pitch it to me as this is what I'd like to do to assist. Can I do that, essentially? So, okay, let me just double check here on the flank.
I mean, the specific I'm asking for is I want to assist Regina somehow by flanking the enemy.
See,
is what I'm aiming for.
What it actually says here is that flanking is something unique to these followers that you have. So I actually don't know that you can assist other characters with flanking. I think you can assist them in getting benefits de facto. If you say, like, I'm going to help Regina, like you just said, you can say I'm going to do X, Y, Z, and I can then, that'll basically be added to her benefit, but it's not known as flanking per se. So.
In which case, Reginald lifts up his shovel and starts trying to hold down the skeleton for Regina.
Okay, sounds good. All right, I like that. So I'm going to ask you to make a, let's see, strength, I think is what we're looking at here. To hold it down as it struggles to get up.
So that's 3d6 plus my strength, is it?
Yes.
Okay. So
and if you have a focus in strength, I don't know if you
do. There's your answer. Okay. Oh, and a bad kismet as well. But a double.
But a double. Okay. All right. So, let's see. note. Okay. Right, and then you have the 6. So that means we're looking at a 10. All right, that. Let's see if that's going to help. Oh, okay. Okay, I did this wrong. So, your strength total here, which is, what's your strength?
My strength is 2.
Okay, so to do this, I'm sorry, this was my fault. You're doing it, so it's not actually, it is a strength, as I said. But to do that, for an assist, what you do is you roll 1d6. If it's equal to or lower than the skill that you're using to assist, which is strength, then you add the number on the die to the other character's roll. So maximum they can get is going to be, in your case, a maximum of, what did you say it was, 2? 2 if you succeed. So you have to roll a 1d6, get a 2 or less, and then they get either a 2 or a 1, depending on what you roll. Sorry, I forgot that's how you do the assist.
I'll roll the 1d6. I won't change my action. So it's just a 1d6 with no plus 2. Is that right? Or 1d6?
No, you're just rolling a 1d6. You're just trying to see if you get 2 or less.
And I got 2 1s out of the way in the process of that. Oh, well.
Sorry.
Well, I'm not used to them getting back up again.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's right. It's a whole different thing. Okay, so that was Reginald's action. That is going to give us now Ashflower, Muriel, and Regina. Regina, are you attacking first before anyone else does now, or?
Always.
Okay.
I mean, it's good that the big ones are finally helping. I mean, I must have
done it all myself.
I must have intimidated them a lot. I understand that.
They seem like that, yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay,
I totally appreciate that. Good big one, so let's hit the skeleton.
Okay.
With 3d6 plus 7. I'm still getting into this. 14 and a double.
Okay, 14 and a double is going to be a great success, that means. So you're going to inflict full damage. You will not take damage back. So you just inflict your regular damage, and then it's going to reduce some of it based on its armor.
There we go. 5.
Okay.
I'm totally... I will learn this. I feel like this is...
Yeah, so it's again, you like stab at it, but it's sort of, and it sort of glances, sort of sticks into its rotting armor, and then you pull it out again. Does not seem to have been quite affected by that. The armor seems to have deflected most of that damage. It also, however, still looks very much almost close to death. Okay, that is going to lead us to either Ashflower or Muriel, depending on what you two would like to do.
I draw my short sword.
Okay.
And if you will bear
That's
with
a
me
free
just
action.
1 second. Thank you very much. Bear with me just 1 second. No, I won't use that at the moment. Yes, I will attack the skeleton.
Okay.
With my short sword.
So you are going to be doing again this 3d6, and you're going to be adding to it. You're going to be adding to that.
I believe it's my agility plus my focus for melee small blades.
Right. Yep.
So that's 3d6 plus 3 for my agility plus 2. So it's 3d6 plus 5.
Okay. And first die is a
Kismet die. Oops. Whoops. Come on, advanced dice roller. You can do it. 3d6 plus 5. Plus 5? Plus 5. And the first die is Kismet die. So the first die...
Oh,
so I've got
man.
doubles as well.
That could have been really awesome if the first one was one of those, but it's still 19, and it's a great success, which means you are not going to get hit back. So you can now do your damage, which is...
Which I believe is 3d6 plus my physical damage modifier.
3d6.
Whoa, no, wait, that's wrong, that isn't
I was
it?
gonna say, wow,
Yep,
what?
no, that's wrong. That's a typo on my part.
You just like sliced through
equipment.
his rib cage,
Yeah.
like all just like.
Did you not know that? I can
I
attack
mean,
with
really.
3d6. I mean, you
Someone's
nearly
been getting
believed it.
jealous of Celsig.
Yeah,
Said you're playing a
absolutely.
lay walker, not an OP
Yeah.
walker.
Bear with me. So short sword equipment. What does a short sword do? I have a feeling it's 1d6 minus something. Weapons.
Yeah, I think it'll say.
Ooh, spreadsheets. Short sword is 1d6 minus 1.
Okay.
So that's 1d6 minus 1 plus my physical damage modifier, correct?
That sounds right. Yep.
Excellent. So I'll just do 1d6 plus 4 instead of plus 5.
Okay.
So 1d6 plus 4. So damage will be 8 points of damage.
Okay. Now, again, as you strike at this creature, you note that your.
It's the modifier I forgot.
I'm sorry. What?
That I forgot the physical damage modifier. That's the. I was like, why is this so little damage? I'm a damn warrior.
The physical modifier. Maybe that's why.
Yes, because I only took the weapon damage.
Yeah, I forgot it too. So here's the thing. This thing also seems to be somewhat resistant to what you did just then. So not because of the armor though. Something about it seems to. Maybe it's because like as your blade goes through, it kind of goes halfway into this. It's like past its pelvis. You know what I mean? And it seems that the blade is not as effective as it might otherwise be, and the armor deflects the rest. So you do not hit it, sadly. Although it feels like you were close to doing so. Okay. That is, and so that's that. That just leads us with Muriel, who is left, because Reginald, Nashflower, and Regina have all gone. So, Muriel, what do you think?
Well, I think that I don't know how to read character sheets and that I do actually have weapons.
Oh, lovely. What do you have?
I was looking at equipment, not weapons. I didn't realize there was a special area. I have a mace and a sling with 10 stones.
Okay.
So since I've already opted to not move, I guess I could sling it.
You could sling away. I think that makes sense.
So I'll have to find what that means, wherever that is.
So the sling, right? So that means you're going to be doing another test. You're going to be attacking with ranged. So that means that you are going to be rolling 3d6, and you're going to be adding your ranged modifier, which is probably agility. But I need to look at the.
It's okay. Yeah.
Okay. So, but do you have a focus in ranged though, or like a focus?
I do not.
Okay,
no.
so just this. Okay, which makes sense. I mean, you are a priest, not a
bookworm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is not quite enough. Now you could spend one of your light fates to re-roll one of those dice. Specifically, like the 2, you could if you want.
I'll do it. I'll re-roll the 2. Oh wait.
Only so we
I'll
get
try
to
to
see what the light fate is like. You know.
I got a 4.
Okay, so that means we're talking a 13. No more than that. 14. That is a hit. You do strike it, so that is a standard success. I think unless... Oh, wait, actually... No, you know what? Because you re-rolled it, that's a doubles. So that's actually a great success is what that means.
Yay!
So that's good stuff all the way around. So now what that means is that you are going to be able to roll your damage. And so... Yeah, great success. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, so you get to inflict damage. Also, your opponent will not get an action response. So that's great.
Okay, so damage is 1d3, so that would be 2, right?
That sounds correct.
That's how we've always done it, is 1d6 but half. So.
All right. Okay, so 2. So it's going to take.
I hit it with a rock.
2 damage. You did hit it with a rock. It bounces off of its armor, this thing, but it does make it that it is not able to respond to you in any way, and you continue to distract it. Which is going to matter because the next turn, as we go up to the top, you get to roll your damage, which is not going to be affected by armor because it is the armor. So I need you to roll your 1d6 damage again.
Oh, 5. Okay.
5, okay. So this... And this thing burns to a crisp. And that brings us out of our first combat. Yay! That brings us out of our first combat. And as I start up the other music, that brings us out of the combat. And so there is a sort of moment of silence, and then kind of emerging out of the mist, you see the original spirit that you had all seen, the original apparition, comes out and says, "Thank you. They had been pursuing me and the other spirits. If you follow, I can take you to the desecrated tomb, caretakers of the graveyard." Now, it just floats in the air, so you all have a chance to kind of like take stock of what has happened if you wish.
No need to thank me, it's fine. And I'll keep on stomping on the skeleton remains.
Just ashes and flinders.
Yeah, just being at it still.
I just look down, just like, saves me a job later.
I just come out from behind the gravestone and I'm like, oh, man, I wish these visions would actually tell me if I live or not.
Not used to this many living appearing in my graveyard.
I look at the apparition and I say, perhaps it was you who drew me here.
And there's a pause, and then the thing looks back and says, "I do not recognize you, but I trace." And it kind of floats around you, leaving little wisps of cloud as it goes around, little clouds of mist, and it says, "You have some connection to the world beyond."
I send people there.
the outer.
Stomp, stomp, stomp.
It ignores you completely, focusing just on Ashflower.
I take a hand out of my cloak and I run my fingers through the wispy magical mist. And I say, I am linked to the outer, as are you.
And there's sort of a pause, and then it kind of drifts around the others. It drifts around you, Muriel, and it says, "You too have a strange feeling about you. You are not from this graveyard."
Can anything living be from a graveyard?
Me.
No, you don't count. You don't live in the graveyard, you live next to it. But yes, I'm not from here. I was drawn here by a dream. And here I am with all these lovely people that I know, but you don't know me. So now this is awkward, like it always is. Hi. It's nice to meet you all. Hi, what a lovely sword you have. And I'm looking at me, or at Regina.
It's a spear.
Well, it is very pointy.
It is very, very pointy. You said you know me. Do I owe you money?
Oh,
I don't owe you money, I mean to say. I don't.
No. No, you don't. I know a little bit about a lot of things. So anyway, there's this ghost that we should talk to, right?
Oh, I didn't take its stuff.
I don't think it has
Someone's
stuff. It's
been
dead.
robbing my graveyard.
Yeah, well, it wasn't me.
Yes.
I know you bumped into me.
No, it wasn't me.
I know. You're an angry little hornet.
I turn around and I say, some of their kind can have short tempers.
So, about short. I just saved all of you, and I think you owe me a drink for that.
Oh, you should really stop drinking or else you probably won't feel good in the morning.
Are you my mom? No, you're not my mom. And I don't owe you even money.
No. We've talked about this. And she just turns around and starts muttering to herself.
I don't think I'm the one who has a problem with a drink here.
Reginald turns to the spirit. He's more comfortable with that.
Okay.
Show us to this defiled grave.
I will. Have a care. Even you, gravekeeper, may not know what awaits beneath the ground here. And it kind of twists and turns around you, leave on a little zephyr of wind, and then floats off into the graveyard further. And that is going to lead us to, you thought there was only one map today, but you thought wrong. There is a second map.
Ooh.
Yes, indeed. I'm going to bring everyone's tokens on here. Copy. Update.
I did not open that.
Yeah, it is again open.
I'm just enjoying the wisps of magic that are coming off of the spirit. As I walk through them, you see like symbols like appearing on my hands and on what look like feet, but you don't see any toes.
Yeah, as you go along, the sort of the spirit as you kind of pass among and through the graves. The moon now is, well overhead, probably past midnight now and heading on. And the wispy spirit that you feel, Ashflower, has this, there is, again, you feel the sort of magic kind of coming from it. But there is this sense of vague unease when you access the magic that's there. It's almost like... I guess I would compare it to if you've ever been standing out in the rain for a long time and you feel drops of water on your skin, and at first it's pleasant. There comes a time where the constant, they used to call this the Chinese water torture, an old method of torture in ancient days where you would drip water enough times and it would start becoming, it feels a little uncomfortable in that way, as if something is odd about the residue this creature is leaving behind. And you would assume that's based on something that it's experiencing in its own strange other world that it's in.
Do I feel any level of emotion that I can convey to this energy? Is it a unkind energy? Is it an angry energy? Anything like that? Or is it just
It's more of an uncomfortable
energy?
energy.
It's an uncomfortable energy.
Like a physically uncomfortable energy, more than anything else.
Okay. Just absent-mindedly, I know I'm within earshot of the rest of the group here. Absent-mindedly, you hear me say, this has suddenly become uncomfortable around here. I don't know what this spirit has experienced, but I don't think this has a good end.
Spirits always have some kind of unfinished business.
I run my hand through the energy wisps again. I'm like, this feels strange. Just, I would like to not be here at this moment. And yet I do not feel I can tear myself away.
That's not a rare feeling in people in my graveyard.
I
tend
fly
to
over
escape.
to
Hey,
I fly over to Muriel. I try to take a little bit of distance here.
hello. Sorry.
I tend
I
to the
think
gravekeeper.
we need to stay. We have to stay because we have to help the spirit. Because if we don't, then bad things happen. I don't really know what that means, but they will happen, and they'll be bad, and we'll wish they hadn't. So we should stay.
You say this as though you are aware of what comes to be.
Well, feelings. There are feelings and little snippets. Mostly, it's not full awareness. It's not like a book. I wish it was a book, but it's not. And so I only know a little bit, but I know enough to know that we should stay and help. Because if we don't, it'll be bad.
Like, really bad?
very bad. Like no taverns ever again bad.
The spirit did say the graveyard might overwhelm the city with evil.
Oh, that could be what I feel right now.
I mean, as far as I'm aware, that's not happened before. But I've only been here 100 years or so.
So that's like a risk for a graveyard, like it overwhelming the city.
I feel like I would have heard about it if my parents had had to deal with that.
I'm just staring very interested in Muriel right now.
You
It's
have a
not like
very nice rack of horns, by the way.
Thank you. I take my hood back, and you see the horns that go around the side of my head.
Yes, you've done a lot of work to get them to grow like that. It looks very nice on you.
I just nod, and I'm just the same energy that I was staring at Boots with, just fascination and curiosity.
So anyway, maybe we should go through this door. That might be a good idea, right? Instead of standing here awkwardly in front, not going into the door, right?
Reginald would like to examine the tomb because it's not one he's overly familiar with, but yeah, it does have some knowledge of ancestry.
So this tomb actually is this is ancient, and there are weeds and vines that cling to the domed marble structure. There's a statue which you can see there that is fashioned to look like an angel. Let me move the dice roller out of the way for chat. Let's put it up there. Like that. There is an angel, statue fashioned to look like an angel with its head bowed, which stands on either side of the entrance. And the tomb and the statues are cracked and weather-worn. Oh, and actually, I have even a picture of what that looks like from the front. So just one moment. I will show you what it looks like from the front. Let's see. That's like that. Okay. Lovely. So if I go like that, do the quick and dirty window capture here. Okay, this is going to be on stream. So it looks like that. And you can see that the door is maybe not quite as open as it shows in that picture, but it's definitely open. Yeah, exactly. Blink angels, Elmadden, right? So the tomb and the statues are both cracked and weather-worn, and time and the elements have worn away all details of the angel's appearance. A large iron door hangs open, but it's too dim inside to see beyond the threshold. And since you asked that, Reginald, I'm going to ask you to make for me either decipher or lore test, if you have either one of those.
Mm-hmm.
I need you to make that test, please.
I have lore with a specialty in ancestry, if that will help.
Ancestry doesn't really help here.
Okay.
Yeah, but...
What's lore test against? Insight,
Wits.
wits, or wits. Okay, so that's going to be +4 then. Okay. Ooh, like fate for me.
Nice.
And a 14 overall.
And a 14 overall. Okay, that's enough. What you can tell for sure is the history of this tomb is not fully known to you, except that you know it is one of the oldest in the graveyard. You've never had to put anyone in it, actually, since you've been here. But the thing that's more concerning for you is that this tomb was clearly once sealed by magical means. You can even sense a little bit of the magical residue left around the outside of the door, having encountered this at other places in the tomb. And it is safe to conclude that someone must have used magic to open this tomb.
I'm just like, tastes of magic around here. And no one's bothered with this tomb in centuries. I don't even know which family it is. They've clearly not been donating for upkeep.
I have
Maintenance
night
costs
vision.
money.
Yeah, I have night vision. Can I just peek in and see what I can see?
Yes, in fact, well, if you all are willing to like just look into, you could probably see some from the moonlight filtering in from outside. This is what you would see within it. Inside the tomb, you can see that there are ornate frescoes that seem to have pictures of some family, although you can't see it very closely. Well, you said you do have dark vision, so you probably could. And it looks like scenes of maybe like an ancient royal family, if you had to guess, Muriel, that cover the walls. And in the middle of the tomb, there is a massive sarcophagus made of white marble with gold veins that dominates the center of the room. Towards the back of the room, though, you see there is another altar, and it is made of the same kind of marble that's in the back here.
So I am a lore keeper background. Would I recognize the frescoes, or probably not?
I would say yes. Go ahead and make a lore. Are you going to actually walk in to take a little bit closer action?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and do that.
Don't know where they would be, but I'm in there now.
Quick question: was the spirit?
The spirit right now is just hovering around outside the door near one of the angels.
Okay.
It has not spoken since you arrived.
Okay.
So
Wow.
close.
A great success, though. Okay. So, that means you are successful in this. Yes, you think you do recognize these. You think that this tomb was built for Emmeline. Emmeline was the last daughter of the ancient king and queen of the realm, which is where you all are, is in the realm. And there are legends that you remember that say that the great wizard who first divided the land from itself, that created different regions that people had to travel through, that this great wizard killed Emmeline and her brother in a fit of rage after her parents refused to let her become the wizard's apprentice.
Oh my goodness, this is royalty. You guys have heard the story, right? Of Emmeline and the wizard and everything. You guys have heard that. I can't be the only one who's heard that. You guys have heard that story.
I think everybody has heard that story.
That's right. You have heard that story. So, I think this is her tomb.
I'm unaware of this story. I don't know this tale.
I just relay everything that was just said.
Okay.
There are also songs about it. So, and now this tomb wants to destroy all taverns.
Not the tomb. Something related to the tomb. It's not the tomb specifically, because that wouldn't make sense. It's inanimate.
It's what?
It doesn't live, and it doesn't contain anything living, except it does now because we're standing here. But it's
Yeah.
not us. That's the problem. It's something.
No, I'm not the problem.
Something else. No. It's not you.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
That's what I said.
Excuse me, Spirit. Spirit, are you still here? Save me from myself.
The spirit is still kind of like floating around the outside. It remains silent.
Is this your tomb?
No.
Oh.
It is the tomb of ancient magic, and something has been taken from it.
Does the tomb look disturbed? Like the sarcophagus?
Other than the
The
door being
sarcophagus looks closed. You don't know unless, I mean, you haven't looked at the back, the altars or anything yet, but like the sarcophagus doesn't look like it's been moved, but you could try to open it.
Nope.
I ran back to look at the altar.
I'm going to go check the altar. Do not open the sarcophagus.
Who, me?
You talking to me? Muriel and Reginald, when you come to the altar, you both see there is an inscription carved into the marble, and it reads, "This gilded talisman preserves the balance of life and death. As long as it remains here, souls in this sacred place of slumber may rest in peace. But as you look down, there is a triangular indentation in the center of the altar where something once rested."
Those who know, know.
That's
And-
the threat to the world, not you.
And that is where we're going to bring our
I
session
can be a threat.
to a close, as much as I'd like to keep going. I'm going to bring our session to a close because we need to wrap up for Pantsless Aaron. But that's I'm really really pleased and excited that we got that far. I felt so I have been GMing for 35 years, chat, and I do not like the experience of going through something completely for the first time in front of an enormous audience trying to figure out everything on the fly. So I appreciate that all of the players were patient as I knew they would be and that everyone there was patient. That said, I think we started ramping up the speed of the combat stuff quite quickly, and now we know the amount of damage that's done. One thing I learned from this, armor's really powerful, and that's really important. And the other thing I learned from it is that it really matters. It's super powerful. Yeah, so that was interesting, and I'm looking forward to seeing more of that. See, I know, it was a name check. Talisman, bang, that's what we're about. So I'm looking forward to seeing how the party goes forward with this, as they have now entered the ancient tomb, and we'll see what happens after they had this combat where basically Reginald just obliterated everything, and then Muriel set things on fire, and Regina, was just like stabbing and harassing, and Ashflower was staring at dogs, and then but did throw a dagger and did do stuff that way. I'm going to start as per usual on the bottom of the column. Chai, we got a chance to get a sense of a little bit more of Muriel's personality. I was loving some of this sort of semi-awkward, not semi, but definite awkwardness on Muriel's side. And the idea of the Curse of Flame was actually super useful because it meant that when everything else was getting limited because of armor, your attack, because it was the armor, was something that was going to keep hurting it. So that ended up being very effective. How'd you feel about our session, about how combat works, I guess, in this, and where will the folks find you next?
Oh, I really liked it, actually. That was fun. I had this idea of who Muriel would be, and I feel like I nailed it. she's just like, I mean, I can't imagine, if you can kind of see the future, sort of, that you are really good at parties. Like, I'm pretty sure you're just like so awkward and you don't know how to say things, and then it's terrible because you don't know how to unsay what you said, and you shouldn't have said it in the first place.
You see your friend and another friend, and they're like, oh, they seem to be interested in each other. You're like, this is a terrible idea. I can't tell you why, though. It's just terrible.
Well, there is a naked baby behind me. Anyway, as far as when you will see me next, it'll be tomorrow over on my personal channel. We're trying to do a zero deaths run on Frostpunk. We're trying to run a hard mode scenario, 0 deaths. It's really difficult, and it's fun to watch me fail. So feel free to stop by and check that out.
Boy, given what I just went through with no 0 death on Frostpunk, I'm with you. Wow, that's impressive. So, thanks, Chai. Always a pleasure. Also, always a pleasure to have Mike with us. Mike, I like the sort of mystery of Ashflower as we were going through here. The kind of tracing the hands through the mist and all that was cool. And I love I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of Ashflower Reginald stuff where Ashflower's going to be like, I'm mystical, and da-da-da, and Reginald's like, excuse me, I gotta go move the bodies. Like, you're both dealing with the same, like, realm, but in a very different way, which I thought was amusing. And of course, when you get to organic enemies, that's where Ashflower's combat abilities are going to be seen. So, what did you feel about today? Where will the fine people see next?
It was really good, really good as a complete newbie, because I haven't really had time to look at much of the player's handbook other than my skills. It's more a case of I've been furiously taking notes while everybody else has been doing stuff and kind of figuring out what exactly my character would do in that situation. And I'm really interested to see how Ashflower kind of reacts to these different characters and this setting and just how that character grows. So yeah, I'm really excited.
It's good stuff. Where can the fine people find you?
Oh, yes, of course. So if you want to go follow me on Twitter, it's @PeripheralMike, or if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's @PeripheralMike. And semi-spoiler alert, next week I will be making my return to live streaming.
Let the word go forth.
Yeah, keep an eye out on the social media channels. It's not gone live yet because I actually haven't created a graphic for it, but there will be a graphic at some point this week to announce when and where. So keep your eyes peeled.
Very excited for that. Thanks, Mike. Always a pleasure. And also always a pleasure to have Darksaber with us, who combat-wise was, as I say, everyone, especially, Muriel had a big effect. Obviously, Regina was hugely important to keep the skeletons constantly focused on the buzzing armored creature that was, buzzing back and forth around them. But man, Reginald's like first one out of the gate is like, kablam, your mind is blown. Kablam, here's a gust, you're hit with a lightning bolt. You're gusted of wind. Like Reginald was like, this is my graveyard. What's up? I was really enjoying Reginald sort of showing off that sort of thing. And of course, it's going to be fun to get to know more about what matters to Reginald and like how, he operates as a character. How did you feel about today? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
It was a lot of fun, that psychic attack, after we hammered out the kink of the fact that I picked a useless specialization for my class.
Worked out though, because
yeah. The thing with psychic is if I hadn't got that great success, if I just get a normal success, I start getting a stacking debuff on it. So there is a balance to stop it being ridiculously OP.
Right.
Which is good because we saw just be gone, Spectre.
That's right. Yeah, that's true. And also, of course, it's limited because you're only able to use it against incorporeal, creatures and like that.
I can't.
So you wouldn't do it against the skeleton because they'd be like, "What?" So.
Yeah, I have a form. What are you doing? I don't even have a brain. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's like having a mysterious lay walker just go, "Yes, this is my dog." Excuse me.
Excuse me, I'm gonna go kill a skeleton.
What are you all doing in my graveyard? Usually these are booked. And then finding out I have the mythical tomb of a fallen princess that nobody bothered to tell me about when I inherited the place.
Mm-hmm.
Might have been good to know I had a talisman in my backyard.
Yep. Would have made so many going to Realm of Fire, the Valley of Fire so much easier.
So I'm definitely looking forward to the next session of this. Like I say, once we started to get the hang of the combat, it really started to pick up pace. So I think next session we can really start getting some stuff done, which I'm looking forward to. And I'll be back here tomorrow. I haven't picked a game yet. I need to see what's on sale tomorrow before I lock something in. And I'll be back on my channel on Thursday, where I'm either going to be doing some more Valheim. I keep forgetting. I've got so many Viking-y names around these days.
Yeah, you said Vinhammer a couple times. I'm like, what is that? I was trying to. I thought it was another game, and then I'm like, oh, Valheim. Yeah.
Yeah, Valheim, or I might be looking at Persona 5 Strikers, which I picked up recently.
Very nice. Good stuff. Thanks, Saber, and thank you again for doing Dashboard and Moobot as always. I appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, Pyron, of all the characters, I think Regina was the least mysterious, and I mean that in the best way, in that there was a very definitive, like, here's how everything was. I was cracking up. I don't know, I talked about this in chat when everyone was going to the tomb, and everyone's going along, and Muriel's doing whatever, and Ashflower's like drifting his hands through the mist. And at one point, Ashflower was like, well, this feels disturbing or uncomfortable to me. And Pyron, your expression was priceless because you were like, it's like, come on, bro. Like, top of look that you were just looking at. That's when you flung over to Muriel, which felt very Regina to me. So I'm looking forward to an armored, angry hornet who's constantly taking offense at things. I think that's going to be funny. How did you feel about today? Where would lovely folks find you next?
I always love these sessions, no matter what we're playing. This is just something very special for me. So it's for me, it's the latest of all the people here, and I don't care. It's the best, and I love the session. I do like the charm of the system. I'm gonna make a flow chart for the combat, because I completely messed that up, and I'm sorry, and I'm gonna do better.
Well, I'm gonna go through it again too, and you actually helped me with the whole melee defense thing that I didn't realize. So anyway.
And so, but yeah, I completely love the synergy between Reginald and Ashflower. That was just, I could just see it in front of me, and I loved it. And I love Muriel like trying like coming in, and it's just, I was so happy tonight. So yeah, that's the thing I wanted to say. It's just, I think everything fit together wonderfully, and I was really happy. And I think next time people see me might actually be for the next D&D session that we need to find a date for.
Yes, I'm going to confirm that with everybody over the weekend.
Yeah, because February is already ending,
I know. It's unbelievable.
So we can have a March session.
Yes, we're going to have sessions. We'll do two. Again, we'll have one D&D with GOG, Storm King's Thunder, where that's getting crazy too, and one... that's an interesting combat you guys are in the middle of, and then of course this game, Talisman Adventures, so we'll have that too. So if you will see Pyron there, you'll see all of these lovely people there. Thanks again to my wonderful players here. And yes, we were already picking it up pretty quickly, I think, and we'll have it mostly down, a lot of it down anyway by next time, for a brand new system. So it's good stuff, and I'm glad that they are along for the ride and doing this. So chat, can we get some love for the amazing players, Pyron J, Darksaber 2K, Peripheral Mike, and Tasty Chai. Thank you so much, players, as always. Much love, and I will see you folks soon.
I miss you all. Love you. Bye.
See you later.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to do it for us for today, because I've got to rise up on out of here because Pantsless Aaron is coming on next. Really enjoyed this. And as I say, it's going to be... This is a very solid system. One of the things to kind of get used to is it not everything being opposed, right? Not everything is an opposed check. In fact, most of the time, it's the party doing something, right? And then they are making tests either to defend or attack, and that's what's going on. It's not me versus this, that versus that, me versus this, that versus that. All of those things are part of this mix. So it's fun to see a system where it's all about the players and their kind of agencies. That's cool. In any case, I got to rise up and out of here. Next Tuesday, I'll be back with Mission Critical on Pen and Pixels, and then we will probably, in short order thereafter, have D&D and, of course, Talisman Adventures in consecutive weeks, so you'll be able to see that there. If you like what you saw and heard, please follow the channel. Please subscribe to us at GOG.com, and please check us out individually as well, because that would also be super helpful, so that you can support individual streamers on our individual channels. I will have some D&D going on my own channel tomorrow night, Community D&D, with Shadowed Mage, Triffity Mats, Rock God, Echo Alpha X5, and Hoodie, playing Dragon of Icespire Peak, so you might want to check that out tomorrow evening. As for now, though, I'm going to give way to Pantsless Aaron, who is playing some Dark Forces. Thank you so much. Sorry we're stopping a little bit late, as always, Pantsless, it seems like when we do these games. I apologize. But I hope everyone enjoyed themselves, and I hope you folks will stick around for the amazing Pantsless Aaron. Otherwise, I will see you folks either on my channel or right back here next week for more Pen and Pixels. Until then, everyone be good to each other, and I'll catch you all soon. Have a good night. Oh, and almost forgot. And thank you to Pegasus Spiele, the official sponsor of this campaign as well, of Talisman Adventures. And now, everybody have a good night.